Oh, hey bitch. Oh, excuse you. Baloney wash. I'm annoyed. I'm just here to give my opinion and carry in. Oh, it's Chris Avalon Unfiltered, bitch. Hey y'all, welcome and happy Tuesday. It's your boy Chris Avalon, and welcome to a brand new episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered, a show we basically talk about all things going on in celebrity news, pop culture, hot topics. Sometimes it even get a little political over on this good old end. So that's a show for you. Definitely stick around because we have a lot of tea to spill today. I'm sitting here trying to put all my stuff together. Look at me. I actually started on time. That's a first. Because, I actually had to stop for a second. I was like, oh, I got to feed my dogs. I got to take them to the bathroom, all that good stuff before I start the show. Because, we go on for a while. Sometimes the show teeters on for 3, maybe 4 hours, depending. We got a lot of topics to get into today, including Jake Schreier, who Ryan Coogler leaked that he is the official director of the upcoming X-Men reboot, is teasing some stuff that's going to be happening with the movie. I got some news about the piss off the Snyder Bros, so be on the lookout for that. We have someone who worked on the documentary, the Palestinian documentary No Other Land. He was apparently killed by an Israeli settler in the West Bank, so we got some news on that. I ain't hear anybody talking about it, so we're going to talk about it on this show. We got to talk about the diddler still trying to slither his way out of prison before his sentencing in October. Beyonce made history with the Cowboy Carter tour, so these old saltine racists about to be big mad over this news I got in regards to the whole country situation. Well, stay mad because the news is the news. We got some news on Mariah Carey because she's in the official upcoming issue of Harper's Bazaar. She's opening up about her new album, a documentary, this biographical TV series. She also even talked about Tommy Mottola. So we got to get into that. Now, speaking of documentaries and biopics, Garner is addressing what's going on and what's taking so damn long with this Madonna biopic that she's supposed to be starring in. Katy Perry may have gotten over Orlando Bloom by slithering her little coochie up under a prime minister. So we're going to get into that. Hulk Hogan's ex-wife and daughter are speaking out about his death and how they're feeling. Apparently, Chris Brown sent out a cryptic message about Karrueche because apparently she out here hunting Deion Sanders, and I didn't even know that until I seen them pictures floating around on social media. Ray J is addressing his rocky relationship with Brandy because there's been rumors going on around about them and all the other stuff, so we're going to get into that. Todrick Hall is being dragged about, because he's in this upcoming Burlesque. Well, I think it started already. Burlesque is out in the West Bank. He's in it. He choreographed it. He's also in the show, and he's addressing his haters. So we're going to get into that. Now, speaking of hating as bitches, we got to talk about washed up MAGA rapper Azeala Banks, who's defending statutory rape. That's what she's, in support of Donald Trump. And she came for the homosexuals and the trans. So are we officially canceling this see you next Tuesday or no? But after we get through all of this other stuff, I'm sure this will probably, she put the final nail in the coffin. That is what was left of her damn career. So yeah, we have that and anything else that breaks during the show. Y'all could definitely hit me up in the comments and let me know. And I'll probably add it to the show. Then the show will be officially 5 hours. But before we get to these topics, if you could please do me a solid, hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. And also be sure to smash the notification bell so that way when we go live with a brand new episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered. You already know the deal. After the show, the timestamps we put in. So those who want to follow the show or the topics at hand, instead of having to sit through all the banner we do during the live stream, you could do so by going down in the description and hitting the number on there, whatever, the timestamp, and then just watch whatever topics you want. Or you could just wait for me to edit the show down and put up all the best ofs, which I always think like most of the topics are best of. There'd be some after the fact that I'd be like, maybe I shouldn't have did that topic. But, sometimes I do my best to make every topic work on this here show. So, love y'all for watching. Oh, and then shout out to all the new subscribers, everybody who's been coming in lately. The channel is growing slowly but surely. I'd rather y'all, the channel take its time to grow rather than, having to buy followers and all this stuff, what some people are going to be doing. But, so I appreciate all of y'all and all that good stuff. So let me hit my banner. And I see we already have comments coming in. I'll get to them after our first topic. So let's get into it. And let's talk about Jake Schreier. So Jake Schreier, who you probably aren't familiar with the name, but he directed Thunderbolts, which we spoke about on the show, underperformed at the box office. But it was a good movie. But regardless of the fact, the MCU and Kevin Feige believe in him enough that they want him to direct this upcoming X-Men reboot that the script is currently being worked on. So we didn't know. The rumor was floating around that Jake Schreier was the director. Well, absolutely. Why am I correcting myself? He is the director. It's like when Jake Schreier was going to be the director of X-Men. That was a rumor floating around. However, a couple of weeks ago, there was an interview with Ryan Coogler. I think he was promoting Sinners. Oh, wait, he wasn't. It was Ironheart, which no shade nobody saw. But yeah, so he was promoting Ironheart and he let it slip, or maybe it was intentional, who knows, that Jake Schreier is actually going to be directing the X-Men reboot. So he confirmed it. So at this point, they don't need no need for confirmation, because once Ryan Coogler put it out there, they've actually put it out here, and the trades officially have addressed the situation. So, in a press conference ahead of the release of the Fantastic Four First Steps, Marvel Studio boss, they're saying a press conference ahead of the release. It's out already. So maybe this came out a couple of days before the actual movie came out, and now this story is finally coming out in the trades. Sorry, trade, but y'all be mad late with y'all tea. That's why I shout out to people like Jeff Snyder and Daniel RPK and so many others who get the scoops and put it out there before, but y'all gotta wait. Y'all are at the mercy of the studios. These other scoopers, they're like IDGAF. They just be out here posting whatever. And it's good grist for my mill. So, in a press conference ahead of the release of the Fantastic Four First Steps, Marvel Studios boss Kevin Feige confirmed what had long been speculated. Even though y'all giving the credit to Kevin Feige, but as I said, Ryan Coogler spilled it first. Thunderbolts director Jake Schreier is helming the MCU's X-Men reboot. Now, in an interview with the Playlist, Schreier told comic book movie fans not to expect a new X-Men movie that resembles the previous franchise led by Hugh Jackman. Saying, yeah, I think it's fair to say, Schreier said when asked if Marvel's take on the X-Men will be recognizably different from what came before, adding as a joke, there's that red sniper dot out there somewhere, But to be able to explore all the ideas that are inherent to that rich source material, but also at a scale inherent to the source material, that's like a very rare and fortunate opportunity. That's very exciting. Now, the director said earlier in the interview, he said, what I can say is it's just inherently interesting and complex material. The core idea of what X-Men is involves complexity. It's an incredible opportunity with super interesting characters and much internal conflict. These characters are wrestling with the identity and place in the world. That's inherently interesting and complex material. Well, I'm glad he's really understanding that it is complex material. And I think based off of if you saw Thunderbolts, that Jake Schreier is the perfect choice for this franchise, because he understands how to write complex characters and make an ensemble work with each other, even if they have all different types of personalities and how they come together. Based on, especially of course, like I said, when you see Thunderbolts, you see that with all the different characters, with Yelena and Taskmaster and Bucky Barnes and all the others, even Sentry. So seeing all them, the way how they all work together is relatively interesting. Now, I don't want to hear y'all coming out here talking about woke this and woke that, because first of all, if you don't even understand, if you've never read a comic book, you already know that as it is stated in here, it is about internal conflict and wrestling with who you are as a person. And it's, of course, metaphors for, with Magneto being a Jew and being a part of the Holocaust. I wonder how they're going to work his character, because at this point, we're in 2025, and if you were a Holocaust survivor, you got to be damn near 100 years old. So are we going to have Magneto being like 100 plus years old, or are y'all going to change up his story a little bit? I'm interested to see how they're going to go with this, because it worked 20-something odd years ago with the first X-Men, because Holocaust, you could still, Holocaust survivors were still relatively young in a way, especially when you had Ian McKellen. But trying to make that story work in 2025, it'll be interesting to see how they work that angle. Now, and of course, with the one thing I will say that I liked about who's the director of what the director did, Bryan Singer, almost forgot his damn name, being him being openly gay, all the other stuff withstanding, I'm sure y'all heard the rumors about the pool parties and the underageness of it all. those allegations. But besides all of that, what I liked about what he did with his X-Men franchise, it was about, the metaphors, the LGBT allegory, the racism allegory, the anti-Semitic allegory. Like, there was so many different things about celebrating the other and them trying to come to terms with being a mutant, and those people who had that fear of the mutants, of what that entails, and exploring that. They didn't explore it fully, but they explored it in so many different situations. So I'm hoping that Jake Schreier can figure that out and make that work in this world. And I wasn't really expecting him to pretty much copy and paste what was done in the previous, X-Men movies. It's kind of like what I'm saying with the new Fantastic Four. This Fantastic Four that just came out is vastly different from the previous Fantastic Fours that we got. It wasn't an origin story. We already know the origin story because the origin story has been told already. It was told in the Jessica Alba versions, and it was told in the Michael B. Jordan version. So the two different iterations that we got, it was told, so we didn't really need a re-up of it. Same thing like with Batman or Superman. Those stories have been told so many freaking times, we don't need an origin in regards to that. Now, if it's something relatively new that we haven't experienced, like an Iron Man or a Shang-Chi or a Flash or whatever the case is, or Wonder Woman, yeah, you definitely need to do an origin story in that way because we haven't really experienced those films on the big screen and those stories haven't been told. Unless you want to refer to the CW show with Grant Gustin, which I still love. That was a good show. I don't care what nobody say. I did love that show for the first couple of seasons. Now, I just hope that they don't try to queer wash, whitewash, all other stuff. Because look, if you're gonna go and take on X-Men, you're gonna have to address certain things that is in that whole situation. So people want to whine and complain and talk about, well, keep your ass home. We don't need y'all to be up in here trying to support X-Men. This is supposed to be, according to Kevin Feige, one of his favorite comic books. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I don't know if he produced all of them, but I know he produced the first one. So if somebody's going to go in and really handle this franchise with a little TLC, I do believe that it will, we'll finally get a good X-Men movie. Because to be honest, all the other X-Men movies, I thought they were okay. The only ones that I really liked of the X-Men franchise, I mean, the first one, don't even get me started, especially that line about the Toad and Storm. That line still irks me to this day. I want to smack the damn writer because I'm like, that was just some lazy ass writing. You know what happens when a Toad gets struck by lightning? Yeah, bitch, tell me. Why did I got really in my feelings with that? But anyway, bring it back. One of the things, so I like X2 and Days of Future Past. Those are the only two from Bryan Singer that I like. And I like the ones from Matthew Vaughn. I did like the one they rejudged it and kind of re-brought it in and brought in new characters. So I don't necessarily want them to bring in, to just copy and paste and do the same thing that they did before. Just give us something new, something fresh, a different perspective. And if people get mad over it because you're discussing themes that they're not particularly happy with, then oh well, that's on you. I was like, maybe I should go over and see if our friend Bo DeMayo, because we love Bo DeMayo over here, had anything to say about the Jake Schreier situation. I don't think he probably did, but no, usual shirtless stuff. And talking about X-Men 97. But he did like Fantastic Four. He said Matt Shakman directed the hell out of Fantastic Four and easily should be doing X-Men. Vanessa Kirby steals the show, even if Marvel only seems capable of telling one type of story with its females. I really enjoyed the film, but I have to agree with others that the rest of the cast left me wanting more. That's what I said. I was like, I felt like I was underwhelmed by a lot of the cast. Like, I wanted more dynamic between Thing and, well, Ben Grimm, aka Thing, and Johnny Storm. Pedro Pascal with all the intellectual stuff, that was cool. Like, I like what he did as Mr. Fantastic. Vanessa Kirby, she is, and I don't care, if people actually read a comic, they would know she is one of the most powerful members of the Fantastic Four. So it definitely worked with her. He said also the plot plays out like clockwork. Marvel Studios really struggles to step outside their own formula and deliver something substantially different or fresh. The aesthetic will make you feel like you're watching something new, but it's pretty basic copy and paste Marvel formula script that fails to fully commit to its most potentially daring ideas in the finale. So In a way, and you know what? He's absolutely right with that. It's just sort of like it did feel fresh, but also it did feel like you were following a specific formula. And I do feel like the one thing that DC has over Marvel that I like is the fact that what James Gunn said, and he was like, every movie that you're gonna see that's from the DCU is gonna be vastly different. We're not gonna sit and follow a specific formula. And I don't think that MCU needs to follow a specific formula in order to tell a story. Just tell a story. And I feel like if it's good, the fans will support it. If it sucks, then it sucks. Just dust yourself off and try again. But there's like they want to have a specific type of blueprint that they want to follow. And in order for there to be some sort of guaranteed financial success. So in a way, I actually agree with him on that. But I'm definitely looking forward to seeing X-Men when it comes out and finding out who the official cast is going to be for this upcoming reboot. But you probably won't hear that until, I think we won't hear about that until possibly 2026. But I would definitely want to hear from y'all. What did you guys think of what Jake Schreier had to say about the upcoming X-Men reboot and saying that it's inherently interesting and complex material, which I think we already knew that, because if you've ever read a X-Men comic, yes, the material is complex, but figuring out how to make that work on the big screen, especially in 2025, and not basically copy what was already done with the prior X-Men's is the interesting part. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. Hola, chismosa. Onyx is in the building. Never understood the metaphor of the X-Men being the other, but as I grew up, it slowly became my favorite. It said not toe triggering some. And did. Yes, he did. I was like, I hated that line. It's like you couldn't find somebody to come up with a good one line for Halle Berry to say. I mean, bad enough that wig she had on was homophobic. Y'all had to go have her say that stupid line. And them bangs. I don't know whose bangs was worse on that wig, hers or Courtney Cox in Scream 3. All right, y'all. So now let's move on to our next topic and let's get into some Superman news, because based on this story, the Snyder Bros about to be pretty tight. Now, the saga of Superman's box office run continues with different spins, saying it's good or bad, depending on the narrative or observer that it wants to create. Excuse me. Now, James Gunn's Superman is now, well, shout out to Comic Book Movie for this tea, by the way, but I saw other places had it as well. Excuse me. James Gunn's Superman is now the highest grossing solo Superman movie of all time in North America after passing Zack Snyder's Man of Steel at the domestic box office. The DCU reboot is now sitting at around 292 million, officially topping the 291 million Man of Steel took in over the course of its entire full domestic run. If you want to factor inflation in, it says if you want to factor inflation in, 291 million back in 2013 would equal to around $407 million today. It's funny how a couple of years ago, a certain number, or a decade ago, a certain number is double decades later. It's weird how that works. As we know, Superman has not been flying quite as high overseas. Yeah, it's not really doing that well overseas. And it kind of makes me wonder, is Superman not doing well overseas because of the current administration? And how a lot of places around the world despises America, despite the contrary of what the idiot in chief is saying right now, that a lot of people are pissing America. People look at Superman as a symbol of America, hence why you get a lot of these incels that think that. So with the red, white, and blue and all that other stuff. And people aren't, I guess, seeing Superman as a universal character. So it could be the timing of this movie coming out and the current administration pretty much is doing everything they can to dismantle everything that our founding fathers and many others after them with a brain pretty much put forth for our country to survive and thrive. People are pissed off at America right now and just don't want to watch a Superman movie, even though the movie is pretty much about like showing kindness to people, even those who don't see it for you, which is real hard for a lot of people, including myself, to do. But we do what we do. So this says, as we know, Superman has not been flying quite as high overseas, and still has a long road ahead if it hopes to catch Snyder's movie globally. Superman recently passed the $500 million milestone at the worldwide box office after 18 days in theaters, which basically means like, yeah, they're at $500 million already. Can it reach Man of Steel 670 million? If Superman keeps packing theaters in North America, some analysts believe it could ultimately make up for its international performance, but Forbes feels it's highly unlikely. And you want to know something? No, before I get to the quotes, I actually, no shade, as much as I like this movie, and as much as I thought David Cornswell did a phenomenal job as Superman, I like it was very much like a comic book brought to life on the big screen. I loved all the razzle dazzle and the colors and everything and what the movie entails. I honestly don't think that it will do well in the long run. Like, it's great that it's domestically doing well, and I feel like it will do domestically. But as far as like internationally, yeah, people aren't seeing it for this movie. And I just don't think in certain countries the movie's even being shown. So I'm gonna have to agree with Forbes. Now, if it turns out that it will surpass and make at least 700 to 750 million, that'll be great. Now, do I think that if it doesn't surpass Man of Steel, does that mean that this is the end of the DCU or Snyder, James Gunn's DCU? No, but I do think that there will be conversations that'll be had by David Zaslav and a lot of the overlords that's working that situation. Like, okay, we got to rethink this whole Superman thing. Like, a little less him getting his ass whooped, and if you're gonna do Superman 2 or whatever you're gonna call it, and you need to add a little more something up in here. But I don't know if they'll figure out what it is that they'll be like, well, what possibly went wrong with Superman? I'm definitely curious. I would love to hear from you guys in the comments. What do you think why do you think that Superman is not doing as well as they had hoped? I mean, I know it's had like an uphill battle because of so many different things that was happening regarding, the infighting between the Snyder Bros and what we call the Gunslingers, because we're trying to think of a team name. Well, of what do we call the James Gunn DCU fans? I said the Gunslingers. So we have the Snyder Bros against the Gunslingers. So there was that infighting, and I think there's only a certain group of people that are really back and forth on that. There was a lot of the review bombing and that, a lot of online hate regarding this film, even though people didn't even see it. And it could also be just the fact that people are very much not liking Donald Trump right now, domestically and internationally. And regardless, despite what the maggot cultists will tell you, there are a lot of people in America that are pissed off at this man right now. Look at how, increasingly low his numbers are. But then again, even with Donald Trump's numbers being in the shitter, in the toilet, whatever you want to call it, who that rhyme? I'm a poet and I know it. He still got the Democrats beat because the Democrats are sitting playing possum. They playing dead. They allowing all this BS to happen and playing, acting like the victim because they're not fighters. But if you're not fighters, you need to, as I always say, shit or get off the pot. Move out the way. Move, bitch. Get out the way. If you're not going to do what needs to be done for the sake of the people of this country. They just waiting, for him to just do so bad that people just vote blue no matter who. Even though they don't even follow their own damn motto. But I'll say those politics when we get, I don't want to get too deep into the politics. But, what the thing is with this Superman movie, it is political, if you look at a lot of the themes. Maybe that's another thing that's hurting it as well, is the fact that some of the political themes that's in it. So that could be it as well. So there could be a plethora of things. So, what they wound up saying is we're definitely performing better domestically than we are internationally, but internationally is also rising and having really good weekday numbers in the same way we are. This is what Gunn recently said of the movie's box office performance. So obviously the word of mouth is very positive both here and everywhere else, which is the thing that we needed to do the most. At the same time, there are certain countries in which is really performing well. So they said Brazil and the UK is where it's doing relatively well at the international box office. He also says Superman is not a known commodity in some places. He is not a big known superhero in some places like Batman is. That affects things. And it also affects things that we have a certain amount of anti-American sentiment around the world right now. It isn't really helping us. So I think it's just a matter of letting something grow. But again, for us, everything has been a total win. Having the movie come out and be something that has been embraced by people everywhere. This is just the seed of the tree that Peter and I have been watering for the past 3 years. So to be able to have it start off so positively has been incredibly overwhelming. Well, there's Parts of this, what he said, I agree with, and as far as I'm kind of giving you the side eye. Now, one, I don't know who on planet Earth doesn't even know who the hell Superman is, unless you live under the dirt, you don't have access to the internet or television. But I'm sure everybody and their mama know who some damn Superman is. So I'm not even going to go and believe that. Now, how can certain countries know who Batman is, but not know who Superman is when you have your trifecta of superheroes? Mainly being a part of the Justice League. Everybody know who Superman is. Everybody know who Batman is. Everybody know who Wonder Woman is. A lot of people know who the Flash is. Those are like your big, superheroes from the DCU. There might be some others that you could throw in there, but for the most part, those are the big main ones. People don't even know who Supergirl is. Like, I had a damn movie that came out in the 80s. So, yeah, we know those characters because we're in America, but for you to sit up there and say people don't know who Superman is, like, I'm kind of side-eyeing you with that. But I do feel like that there is truth to the fact that there is some anti-American sentiment around the world right now, and people are protesting this movie because they feel like it's a representation of America. Now, if you're talking about people don't know who this thing is, with the theme of the film being kind of like a reflection, even though he says it's not about Israel and Palestine and stuff, even though that is kind of like it mirrors that. So why would you even put that theme in your film if you feel like they don't know who a lot of these people around the world wouldn't know who we are or who Superman is? So yeah, I'm side eyeing that. And now I was trying to see if there was anything else. No, it's basically talking about who's in the movie and all that other stuff. So as I said before, I like Superman. I thought it was a good movie. Yes, it's doing well for now domestically. We'll see if it's able to beat Man of Steel internationally. And for the record, before people even try to come for me, I will say this. I actually liked uh Man of Steel. I actually own Man of Steel, the extended version. I also own the extended version of Batman v Superman. Even though I can't stand the bitch now because I know what she's all about, and her past and everything. I even own the first Wonder Woman. So I have been putting down coins for the Snyderverse. I own a lot of the movies and things with that, the extended versions, because I don't like if they have like a regular theatrical version. If you have things that you can just add to make the movie more palatable, then I'll sit and I'll buy that version. Just like I said, I own the 3-hour version of Dr. Sleep, which is a much better movie than the theatrical one that came out. But I actually bought both. I have the theatrical and I have the extended 3-hour one. So I like Man of Steel. I just feel like that the Snyderverse was for a specific group of people. It wasn't something that was more for a broader audience. Like when you watch something like Man of Steel, you can't really bring everybody to that film because there are certain things that will put in that movie tonally and story-wise, especially with Superman killing Zod, that would rub people the wrong way. And little kids, that's not a movie that I think little kids would embrace at that time. So James Gunn's Superman works better because it reaches a far broader audience. It's just unfortunate because of the timing. I feel like the movie's not doing all that well. So that's all we have on that for now. I'll definitely be keeping up on that, the box office and how well it's going to do, and if the financial overall tally when we get to the end of the road regarding Superman. But it's got time. Look, there's nothing really coming out until they got Naked Gun coming out this week. The only thing that's about it, I've heard the movie's funny. I don't necessarily know if I want to break my neck to go see it. I might. And then hearing Liam Neeson and Pamela Anderson might be hunching in real life, I'm like, okay, but you better not hurt that man because Liam is a good man, Savannah. So do right by him. I'm saying that because I met him and he's lovely. So there's that. And then next week we get Weapons. So you've got like 2 more weeks, Superman and Fantastic Four, to rink in enough money so that way we'll see how well you do until we get to the end. Because who knows when they're going to release Superman on VOD or whatever the case. I don't know if they're going by that 45-day window that all the other movies are freaking doing right now. So yes, I would definitely want to hear from you. What do you guys think of this news? I don't need no infighting for the Snyder Bros and the Gunslingers. I think we should all come together in perfect harmony and love on both movies. We can like both movies and not hate on each other in regards to that because we love the character of Superman. So I definitely want to hear from y'all. Let me know what your thoughts are on this story in the comments down below. So let me close that window real quick and let's see what the people are saying. I'm glad Superman's doing well as well, but I am a little nervous because but I do. I'm nervous because I wonder what does this mean for the future of the DCU. I'm sure that Kevin Feige, um, James Gunn is going to still him and Peter Safran are still going to do whatever they want to do with this whole situation and get the franchise on on the right track. Like I'm looking forward to seeing Clayface. I'm looking forward to seeing The Brave and the Bold whenever they get that damn thing written. I'm looking forward to seeing The Batman Part 2, which is of course is not a part of the DCU, but I'm looking forward to seeing that movie. Looking forward to seeing Supergirl when it comes out next year. Looking forward to seeing this Lantern series when that comes out on HBO next year. HBO Max, to be specific. Um and whatever other projects, I need y'all to figure out the authority. That's what I'm looking forward to y'all figuring out. Superman bombed in Asia, and it's mostly because of the anti-American culture over there. Not sure how Fantastic Four did in Asia, though. That'd be interesting to find out how well that movie's doing. Being kind to others, even when they aren't kind to me, is why he's Superman and not me. Just got to find my balance of kindness about it. Yeah, that's why I think yeah, he did say kindness is punk rock. But I do agree with that. I feel like, you know what? I'm willing to be kind to people who are not so kind to me. But at the end of the day, I gotta protect my peace. I gotta protect my space. I'm not gonna sit and be a doormat. I'm not gonna let you, you know, continue to put that energy on me. I'm gonna cut your ass off. Like if you're a friend or whatever the case, if you're a toxic friend or whatever, I have no problem cutting people off. People know how I am. When it comes to my Virgo be Virgoing, I don't mind. I can easily cut people off like that. Like I've always been that way, and people don't understand. It's like, okay, well, um, you need me more than I need you. I don't give a fuck. I walk through this world by myself. I was born in this world by myself, and I'm gonna die by myself. So I don't really need people like that. I mean, it's good to have friends and people that you genuinely care about, but to protect your peace and your mental health and all the other stuff, sometimes it's like I'm gonna kill you with kindness, meaning that I can love you from afar. You stay your ass over there, and I'm gonna stay my behind over here. Yeah, they don't have teeth, but they probably could suck a mean dick. I did like David as Superman. Henry Cavill was good. And I like Henry Cavill. Henry Cavill looked like Superman. The body was bodying, but I like the fact that we had David Corn Sweat look like a regular dude who could be a superhero and doesn't spend, 6 months taking HGH and working out in the gym and doing Ozempic and all these other tricks that they say, oh yeah, it was diet and exercise. Yeah, okay. Please, we know you were doing steroids. We know you were doing human growth hormones. We know you was doing all that stuff. Kind of like what the hell's his name? That Zionist? That's playing Mephisto. Sacha Baron Cohen. You can't tell me that man in his 50s and got that body from diet and exercise. He had some help. Over the weekend, I watched a couple of the old Christopher Reeve movies. I need to get around to rewatching those. I did the other day watch Supergirl with Helen Slater and Faye Dunaway still channeling Joan Crawford. Because you cannot tell me she wasn't channeling Joan Crawford playing that part. He says Snyderverse will always have well, that them pecs in that ass. Okay? Because I always tell people a quiet Virgo is a deadly one. When we get quiet, bitch, you better run. I tell people that all the time. But all right, let's move on and let's get into some sad news regarding a Palestinian activist and community leader, Odeh Hathalin, who's also known as, AKA, I say also known as, that's what AKA means, duh, Auda Hathalin, who worked with directors Bassel Adra and Yuval Abraham on the Oscar-winning documentary No Other Land, has been pow-powed and unalived by an Israeli settler in the occupied West Bank. So I didn't hear anybody talking about this, but I saw that this was on the major trade. Shout out to Variety that pretty much put this tea out here. So let's get into it. And I want to see this documentary, but I've heard that because, it just won an Oscar, No Other Land, which I heard people was having there was a whole controversy surrounding it. And, we talked about it on the show with one of the guys that, wasn't he like, beat up or kidnapped somebody? I can't remember the story, but I remember we talked about one of the guys on here, Hamdan Bilal, We talked about him on the show where he got there was some settler mess that was going on, and he got attacked. And because of the story and everything, I think he was like kidnapped or whatever the case was. And they let him go because, the story was going viral and all this other stuff. And there was a whole situation with that. Maybe the story will remind me, but I'm just trying to remember off the top of my head. So shout out to Rolling Stone for this team. So it says the news was initially reported by the film's co-director, Yuval Abraham, who posted a video of an Israeli settler identified as Yinon Levi pow-powing at a group of activists in the village of al-Khair, located in Masafrayata, saying, quote, an Israeli settler just pow-powed Odeh Hadalin in the lungs, a remarkable activist who helped us film No Other Land in Masafrayata. This is what Abraham wrote alongside the video. Residents identified Yinon Levi, sanctioned by the EU and US, this is one of the reasons why I hate it here, as the pow-power. 2 hours later, Abraham added in a comment, Odeh just died from his wounds. He was red-rummed. It's funny, I have to choose my words when you're on the YouTube because, they coming for us with the censors and all that other mess. So it's like, I got to choose my words carefully. Hence why you just got to read between the lines of certain words that I'm using. I'm sure y'all get it. We a smart bunch up in here. So No Other Land co-director Basil Adra addressed in an Instagram story said, my dear friend Auda was slaughtered this evening. He was standing in front of the community center in his village when a settler fired a bullet that pierced his chest and took his life. This is how Israel erases us, one life at a time. Israel police confirmed the death in a statement via Al Jazeera. Following the incident, the death of a Palestinian was confirmed. They said his exact involvement in the incident is being verified. Well, I'm sure there was no incident that was going on because we've talked about many a times on this show in passing whenever it comes to certain topics, how they're trying to erase a lot of the Palestinians because they want the land. When you have a lot of the settlers, people who were just planting themselves on this land that does not belong to them because they feel like it belongs to them, first they started with the bombings, destroying all their stuff. You already heard this idiot in chief president of ours talking about that they want to turn Gaza and the West Bank into like a luxury resort. Which have a look as tacky as the Trump Towers, we don't want it. I'm sure they don't want it either. These people should have a right to exist on their own land without people feeling like the land belongs to them. Shit don't belong to y'all. So this colonization mess, we already know this has been going on since before I was born, or as I like to say, before speech replaced sign language. So when you have these people who are just trying to survive and thrive, and then you have people, not only that with the bombings and stuff, now they have like the famine, which is the starving of the Palestinian people. You have people showing up at places where they tell them, come here so we can give you food and medicines and things of that nature. And when they all line up to get some stuff, you actually have the IDF opening fire on people. So you're setting them up to get, to have their lives being taken. And then we have situations now where you're seeing little kids being starved to death. Where child, don't even get me started with Rupert Murdoch's New York Post, because I believe he owns that mess. But them idiots over there have the nerve to sit up and talk about this baby had a genetic disease, where you literally see like his spine sticking out from his back, and literally starved to death, like dying or whatever. And the baby, and even some of the kids saying that, is it better if I go to heaven because maybe there'll be food there? I'm paraphrasing, but that's basically how they're thinking right now. Where it's like they'd rather be dead because they feel like that there's food in heaven where they can eat instead of being on earth, which is pretty much hell on earth at this point, the way these people are being treated. And nobody's talking about this. Now I'm starting to see like, okay, maybe MSNBC and CNN, their stuff is starting to come out a little bit because you can't hide it anymore. There's only been so much you could try to put a Band-Aid over it before the wound still, is exposed, or try to, the Band-Aid kind of comes off from the heat, and then the wound is exposed. So you can only do so much to hide all of this, especially when we're talking about legacy media. So we've seen a little bit of things they keep talking about, and we have morons. We released the hostages. These have never been about hostages. This is the smoke screen that Netanyahu and these morons that's with him are using to try to steal these people's land. They don't give a damn about these hostages. So I wish that there would be certain morons that go on these channels or these shows or whatever because they want their 15 damn minutes, and stop spreading this propaganda, because that's not what they're doing. That's not what they want. they want to kill every last Palestinian so they can steal their land. So it was like, if we can't keep bombing them, let's starve them. Let's prevent aid from getting into the country. Now, let me go to my phone because it just made me think about something. I think in my stories, I had something where there was a guy. So, wait, what's his name? His name is, they said, Israeli forces violently assaulted the only black man aboard the flotilla. So there is, over the weekend, shout out to Here's Why We're Killing with this. And so it says, over the weekend, the IDF raided and hijacked a ship with more than 20 activists aboard, including 6 American citizens. The only black man aboard the ship, activist and labor union leader Chris Smalls, has not been heard from or deported back to the U.S. It has been reported that the activist organization and by his lawyer that Chris was physically beaten by the IDF, saying, quote, the Freedom Flotilla Coalition. I don't know why I want to say Flotilla the Bar so damn bad. That's a drag queen. But the Freedom Flotilla Coalition confirms that upon arrival in Israel custody, U.S. human rights defender Chris Smalls was physically assaulted by 7 uniformed individuals. The Freedom Flotilla Coalition wrote on Instagram, they choked him and kicked him, leaving visible signs of violence on his neck and back. Over the last few years, Smalls was met with they said he's met with President Biden. He has been profiled by every major media outlet in the U.S. when he successfully led the union drive at Amazon, but more than 3 days later, his detainment and subsequent abuse, not only major media outlet in America has covered, not one major media outlet, in America has covered his story or demanded his release. The U.S. government has also failed to respond to the situation. But when you're dealing with the moronic Trump administration, what the hell did you expect? You really think they're going to come out and speak on behalf of someone when Donald Trump could give 2 shits and a flying fuck about anybody that's going against AIPAC, Israel, Netanyahu, all that other stuff? When he's especially taking money, millions of dollars from Miriam Adelson, because you can't get it from Sheldon. Sheldon's dead. And so yeah, that's what you're gonna get. I was trying to see if I could find. Oh, I found it because I want to pull this up and I want to show y'all the video of him talking about like a video that he actually made where he was talking about if something happens to him and all sorts of, like, he filmed the video before he was kidnapped, which is what a lot of them did. I think Greta Thunberg, she filmed one too. I haven't heard. I need to look up that story to see like what happened with her and that shit. But anyway, hold on. Oh yeah, so these are the people who were on the ship that were actually kidnapped. And it's Rob Suberi, Braden Peluso, Christian Smalls, Jacob Berger, Huwaida Araf, Dr. Frank Romano, and Wad Al-Musa. So these are 7 of the people, and it says tag the U.S. Department of State now at State Department and at Secretary Mark Rubio. Well, I don't know why you're going Marco Rubio. Y'all wasting y'all breath going after him, but flood his stuff too. And also U.S. Department of State, State Department, and Secretary Rubio, who's pretty much an embarrassment. But hold on, let me go back so y'all can hear it.
In this video, we have been intercepted at sea and have been kidnapped by the Israeli occupation forces or forces of the country complicit in Israel's genocide of the Palestinians. I appeal to my comrades, friends, family, to everyone to put pressure on the U.S. government to demand my release and the release of my comrades as soon as possible. Thank you. My name is Chris Smalls from the United States. If you are seeing this video, we have been intercepted at sea and I've been kidnapped by the Israeli occupation.
I made it to Gaza, but it was not a failure. They may not have been able to feed the people of Gaza now, but I can guarantee that they fed them hope. And that's exactly what we plan to do with the Handala when we set sail today, is feed people hope and make sure that we continue to hold Israel accountable for the illegal siege on Gaza, and make sure that once again, that we remind everybody that we will not give up, we will not give in. I made it to Gaza, but it was not a failure. They may not have been able to feed the people of Gaza now, but I can guarantee that they fed them hope.
All right, and then I have more from I Am Blakely. Shout out to her. I've seen her on what was it? I think I found out about her because she was on Savvy Sav. She was like on the panel and all this other stuff, and they were talking about like Zoran. They were talking about Palestine, the whole Palestinian situation. She's talked about a lot of things. So yeah, I want to go to this clip where she was actually talking about Christian Smalls as well. So we'll get to that clip and then we'll come back and talk.
Where the fuck is Chris Smalls? Where the fuck is Chris Smalls, bitch? Chris Smalls, who is the co-founder of the Amazon Labor Union and a human rights activist who was on the Gaza Freedom Flotilla, Handala, was one of the 7 Americans who was kidnapped by the IOF, but the only one reportedly who had been severely beaten. According to reports, it says that uniformed individuals beat him, choking him, kicking him in the legs, according to the Freedom Flotilla Coalition. The Freedom Flotilla confirmed that this happened. Where the fuck is he? When his lawyers met with him, Christian was surrounded by 6 members of Israeli Special Police Unit. This level of force was not used against other abducted civilians. Now, we all know that the reason why they treated him this way is because he's black. I already saw lying Zionists trying to dispute this claim by being like, there are a lot of people of color serving in the IOF. Israel's so diverse. Shut the fuck up. 100% we know that him being black made them treat him worse. And I ask once again, where the fuck is he and why the fuck isn't he back in the United States, bitch? Let me tell you hoes something, okay? You don't fuck with Christian Smalls, okay? I've known Chris for years. He is an amazing person, an incredibly strong and resilient person. So you would be mistaken if you think that you are going to scare or intimidate him, bitch. You motherfuckers bring him home now. Now, Marco Rubio, bitch, where the fuck are you? State Department, bitch, get him the fuck back to the U.S. now. Bitch, where the fuck is Chris Smalls? Where the fuck is...
Oh, so yeah, there's that. And then one person said this that I don't think a lot of people know about. They said, and I remember I was having a conversation with a friend of mine about this, and I'm glad that somebody put it in the comments. One person said the police here are trained by the police there, so of course they would. Most moral army. So yeah, the IDF is trained, or the police are trained by the IDF and all the other stuff. So I don't know if people knew that, but it's like, yeah. Why are people surprised at like the militantness of what is all going on and why, when you notice, when it comes to questions, especially about Zoran Mamdani, people or any kind of politician from America, do you think Israel has a right to exist? I'm like, can I worry about my country and not be worried about over there? Sidebar. Did y'all know Zoran Mamdani is married? That's some tea. I was like, I didn't know about that, because apparently people are pissed that his wedding was private. So yeah, Zoran got himself a woman. So all you people trying to go out there and get in line and hunch that booty, get in line, child, because it ain't happening. So yeah, because they're saying Republicans and conservatives are pissed off that they didn't know about Zoran's wedding and whatever. And I'm like, so if we're gonna sit up here and worry about Zoran's wife and all this other stuff, so we can sit and ask questions about why Melania ain't running around here with Trump? And the fact that they marriage, we already know what that marriage is given. So we can't talk about him, but y'all want to talk about the other side. So if y'all saying that we can talk about, you want to sit and talk about Zoran, then I guess we can go in on the mail order whore from Slovenia. I guess that's what you're saying. So to wrap this story up, because I know I went on this whole side of them, because I'm like, we need to talk about all these other people that are and what's going on in the country. So yeah, I want to definitely let y'all know about Christian Smalls, because I hadn't heard anybody pretty much talking about him. But to get back to this situation, what they were talking about, they said that Haaretz reported that Levi was sanctioned by several countries last year due to violence against Palestinians, where the Times of Israel noted that the sanctions put in place by the U.S. under the Biden administration were lifted by Donald Trump. Now, Masafer Yatta is part of the Israeli-occupied West Bank and was the main subject of No Other Land, which won the Academy Award for Best Documentary earlier this year. Which, piss a lot of the Zionists off, but y'all can go and play in traffic. We don't give a fuck if your feelings are hurt. Your shit is not the only things that gets to be acknowledged. We should acknowledge that other lives matter besides, a bunch of Zionists. Now, the film was made between 2019 and 2023 and documents Israel's violent treatment of Palestinians in the West Bank, brown folk, similar to like when we're talking about Christian Smalls, who was a black man. So y'all sitting there talking about, oh, well, we have plenty of brown people or dark skinned or black people that are in the IDF. Okay, and what that got to do with the price of tea in China. Because if that's your justification, then why are y'all taking out all these brown folks that's over in Palestine? I'll wait. So Israeli soldiers and sellers have unalived more than 1,000 Palestinians in the occupied West Bank since the start of the war between Israel and Gaza in October of 2023. Even though this war's been going on for decades, but it really ramped up after this whole situation that happened last year in October. So they said, quote, "It's great that we're nominated for an Oscar and people are talking about it, but in a few months, they will move on to the next film or the next thing," Abraham told Rolling Stone in February. "And we are going to continue our work. It's our life's mission to end the injustice and is going on here to make this place better. This is why we are not placing all of our emotion and heart on this Oscar, because it's just a statue at the end of the day. People here are dying every single day. Gaza is destroyed as a place. Basil's community right now might not exist in a few years, and there's no change in U.S. foreign policy." Which we already know Biden's a damn Zionist and Trump has made it worse. Well, I mean, everything he touches turns to molasses anyway. So that's why people should be surprised by that. Okay, so now they do have the situation what I was bringing up to remind me. And they said in April, Hamdan Bilal, another one of the film's co-directors, was beaten and degraded by Israeli settlers, then blindfolded and detained at an army base only weeks after winning the Oscar. The filmmaker and activist called the experience the worst moment in my life in a New York Times op-ed, saying, "I could hear my wife and kids screaming and crying, calling for me and telling the men to go away." He wrote of the attack, adding, "My wife and I both thought I would be unalived. We feared what would happen to my family if I died." And also, let's not forget that there was a settler who went and took the life of a Palestinian American who was working at their family's ice cream shop in the West Bank. I believe what it was that there was some settlers coming around trying to colonize some spaces or whatever. He was defending the land. He was beaten badly. And when medical tried to come in to help him with his wounds, whatever the case was, the settlers who had beat him up denied them access, to which the guy died. And it's funny how, like I said, the people aren't really talking about this. So, of course, I feel it's my due diligence to bring y'all the latest on this situation. So, yeah. So that's the latest for now. And I will be bringing you more stuff as it develops. It's unfortunately something that's crazy has happened. But yeah, I definitely want to hear from y'all. What do you guys think of this story regarding the this No Other Land collaborator his life was taken? And then Christian Smalls, we could definitely keep you abreast of that story as it develops, and all the other people that were kidnapped by the IDF for trying to get aid to Palestinians who are desperately in need of the aid, the medical aid, food, water. Like, there's people out here who are drinking unclean water because they're so desperate for something to put in their bodies, some kind of nourishment. And it's just disgusting that this is what these people are doing, that what Israel's doing to these people. And then there is not a place, hell ain't hot enough, in my opinion, for the people that are in this administration that is allowing this to happen. And the silence of the Democrats, particularly a lot of you AIPAC whores like AIPAC Jeffries, Hakeem, that heifer, and so many others, Nancy Pelosi, all of you, who are just sitting silent, not saying anything because you take all this money from AIPAC so that way they could just take all these damn lives. The fact that you're allowing this is deplorable as well. And it just makes me sad and embarrassed to be a fucking American. So, and then my tax-paying dollars going towards this buffoonery. So just know, those of you who are my international watchers, that a lot of us do not agree with what our country is doing to Palestinian people, and many others where y'all want to involve yourselves in war. And shout out to the Israelis that, the young Israelis that I saw. There was a video, because I don't want to sit and just like make it seem like I'm coming at all people from Israel, because I know just like there's Americans here who are despising everything that the Biden administration pertaining to foreign policy and this current administration, how they're handling foreign policy, we're against it. I know there's people in Israel that are as well. And I saw there was a video of a lot of young people who were burning up their papers because, you know, that it's similar to like South Korea. They have it's mandatory that they serve in the military, and they were burning up their papers and everything, saying they're not serving in the IDF. So I don't know if that means they're going to go to jail or whatever the case is. I'm probably sure dealing with Netanyahu, no neck having ass, that is probably going to be a penalty on them. And I'm sure they're like, you know what, this is a risk that we're willing to take because we don't agree with what this fascist that's running Israel wants us to do. And it shouldn't be mandatory that somebody has to serve in a you know, a military that's sole purpose is to just take out people's, you know, people who are different than them. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. That's what I say. Hell ain't hot enough for them MFers. You know, it was like, I always feel like a lot of times when I talk politics on this show, I'm always like praying that I have all my information when I talk about this, because politics is crazy and complex, especially trying to remember everything. Like, I'm so inundated with so much information and trying to remember all of that, especially with this. Like, I've never been bombarded with so much political information with this current administration. I mean, I was paying attention and stuff to it when it was the previous administration, but this current administration, they don't care. It's just like they're making it blatantly obvious about everything. So, let's get into some semi-lighter news. I don't know how we can get any lighter, going from the death of a Palestinian collaborator on a documentary to the diddler. But let's talk about the diddler, who is still out here trying to get his attorneys to release him from the good old clink. And in the words of En Vogue, excuse me, never going to get it, 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 never get it. You are staying your ass in jail, sir. I don't know why you keep trying, but he's doing it. And you get an A for effort. So the diddler is seeking to be released from jail on a $50 million bond ahead of his October 3rd sentencing, following the hip-hop mogul's acquittal on trafficking, the S-word trafficking, and racketeering conspiracy charges earlier this month. Now, Combs was acquitted earlier this month on the most serious criminal charges he faced over drug-fueled marathons called freak-offs, but were convicted on 2 lesser counts of interstate prostitution, when he's sentenced in October, he'll likely receive between 2 and 5 years of prison, which was pretty much what I said. And then he's already, you know, he'll have a year already down, so that's time served. But I said he'd probably do like 2 to 5 years. I mean, the mandatory, I think, would be a decade, but for the most part, I truly believe he's only going to do about 5 years in the clean. It might get out earlier based on good behavior, hence why I think is why they came up with the 2 years. Now, Judge Aaron Subramanian ruled at the time that Combs must stay in jail until sentencing, citing his history of DV. But in a new filing on Tuesday, his lawyers strongly urged the judge to reconsider, arguing that no other prosecution John would get such treatment. Well, no other prostitution John is like the Diddy, or the diddler, as I would say. He's in a whole bracket on his own. You ain't probably never defended or dealt with somebody like Diddy. And knowing his history, for you to try to compare him like to some regular dude that was out here prostituting people, if I was a judge, I'm like, okay, you get an A for effort, night trial, but no, I'm denying it. Denied. So he said, quote, Sean Combs should not be in jail for this conduct. This is what Mark Agnifilo and Diddy's other lawyers said, or they wrote it actually in a letter. They said, in fact, he may be the only person currently in a U.S. jail for being any sort of John. Diddy's lawyers argued that harsh penalties, including pre-sentencing jail, is reserved for the people who run operations of the prostitution kind, and not for one person who merely hired prostitutes. Well, they do believe that he was running a ring where he was basically using Cassie as his main mule. But based off of all the other stuff happening, however, the people decided to do the verdict and charge him on whatever they did when they was up in that room deciding on his fate, That's on them and how they put this out there. So for you to try to bend the words a little bit to your situation, I see through the foolishness. And you try to compare Diddy to any other ordinary person when it's been 3 decades of him raising hell on a lot of people. It's not just the prostitution stuff. It's also his violent behavior, his manipulating people who are in less powerful positions than him, the many victims he left in his wake of abuse. All those things play a factor. Hence why I think they're keeping him in jail, because they feel like even with him being under house arrest, he could probably have ways of conducting any kind of revenge tour on those people who went against him, particularly Cassie, who people still looking at as like someone who was a main culprit in all of this. And I'm like, she was a victim. When you are someone who has been broken down to the point where they've broken you mentally, and then they break you physically, which is what traffickers do. When you have a mule or whatever the case is, they love bomb you, say all these things where they make you fully, dependent on them, breaking you down mentally without you realizing. And even Diddy's admitted to this in interviews, not necessarily for Cassie, but when they were asking him about, I can't remember the exact term, but I'm just saying, like, in the phrasing of breaking down someone or any kind of form of manipulation when you're having when you're dealing with that with people. And he explained like how you do the whole manipulation thing, and he's very good at that. Diddy's a hustler. So all that stuff he was rapping about, he was telling on himself. So he knew how to break people down, especially when you grooming somebody as young as Cassie was when she met him. He was pushing 40. She was what? 19, 20, 21. Her brain ain't fully developed. Your frontal lobe for a woman hasn't developed at 19, 18, 17. Just like a man's hasn't fully developed. Boys don't develop their frontal lobe until about 24, 25. So when you have someone that's fully developed, fully experienced, been around the world, and and you sitting there going after these young girls, you know how to work the situation to get them to do what you want to do. And then you have their career in your hands, where this girl sitting there thinking that she's gonna have this big music career, but you had an ulterior motive. This is what happens. But people didn't believe her. People still out here making it seem like Cassie is, a culprit, started everything, was involved, all that other mess. No, that was a girl that was just desperate and broken down and damaged. And hopefully she's gotten all the things that, she's gone through therapy, whatever the case is, and has built her life back up. So they say the case against Diddy and his ongoing incarceration are genuinely unique in more than a century since the federal prostitution law is enacted. There have literally never been a case like this one, where a person and his girlfriend arrange for adult men to have consensual sexual relations with the adult long-term girlfriend. Diddy's lawyers write, Mr. Combs is incarcerated while everyone else involved in this identical conduct, his girlfriends, the prostitutes, the agency's leaders, the porn stars, and others walk free as they should. If released, Diddy's lawyers say he will submit a previously offered restrictions, including a $50 million bond and travel restrictions. They say he's not a flight risk and will not be violent to anyone. Well, I don't know if that's hard. To me, that's hard to believe. You sit up there saying that, so of course you're going to say that because you work for him. You're his attorney. So you don't think you're going to say all the right things and try to get this judge to go and be like, okay, well, I believe you. Let him out. Hell no, leave his ass in there. Put him under the jail, quite frankly. I ain't never liked Diddy. All the things I heard about the dead old demon, for the past 3 decades he been around. I'm like, what took y'all so long to get his ass in jail? And it's not only just this incident. It's been many incidents. The whole school stampede situation, the Pow Pow situation that happened at the nightclub where there's a woman still suffering from that situation. The Jennifer Lopez was there on that night and Sean went to jail for 10 years over that mess. There's been many things that the dealer has been involved in where other people have taken the fall for his mess. And now the chickens have come home to roost. His lawyers can't seem to get himself out of this little tangled web. It's like, no. You did the crime, you do the time. So they went on to say, as we said in court, this jury gave him his life back, and he will now squander his second chance at life. He's had many chances at life. It's just now that stuff has caught up with him. Nor would he do anything to further jeopardize his 7 children not having a father and 4 of his children not having a parent at all. Well, he should have thought of that before he was out here doing the things that he was doing. So, as I say, you do the crime, you do the time. If you wasn't out here being, this wannabe thug and all this other stuff because you've been seen as a pudenda, that'd be a vagina, by many of people who've been trying to sun him throughout his whole life. I'm sure if you've seen the HBO Max documentary or whatever, what was it, like 5 parts? When it was somehow how he was bullied and all this other stuff, and he had to kind of grow up real fast and really show like he ain't no punk and all this other stuff. So all of that stuff that stemmed from his childhood, him trying to prove like he can't be effed with, this is, it seemed like this is what stemmed from a lot of that. Plus him being exposed to people hunching in his mama house because of them parties she was throwing when he was a kid, according to his cousin. This is all learned behavior. So y'all want to blame somebody for the root of why Diddy is the way he is. Blame the woman who wears some of the worst wigs in all of the industry, Janice Combs. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story? Do y'all think that the diddler should be released from jail before his October 3rd sentencing? Y'all already know my answer on it because I think I said it throughout the whole damn segment. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. All right, let's see what the people are saying. Felix says, are they drugging his food? What makes it thinking? Okay. Oh, he'll get out eventually, but I do think he's doing time. Like, we're not going to sit up here and be like, yeah, we'll let you out and have your little freedom before you're... No, sir, you're going to spend 2 more months in prison. Because, what is it? It's July 29th today. Then we have August 3rd coming up, and then September 3rd. Okay, so that's like, 2 months and a couple of days that you're going to spend in jail before you find out your sentencing. You're going to do out the rest of your time, which would be, I guess, like they said, 2 to 5 years. So I do agree. It's like he's not getting out of jail. You were definitely a flight risk. So you did what you did, suffer the consequences. And they're all right. This isn't any other case that we've seen. Hence why he needs to stay his ass in the jail. All right, now, after all that heaviness, let's lighten up the mood. Let's get some music news. Let's talk about Beyonce making history. So now, the clear folks over there in the country world about to be big mad because Beyonce just made history with her Cowboy Carter tour, which just ended, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, on Saturday. So Beyonce Knowles Carter, or I should say Beyonce Giselle Knowles Carter, concluded her groundbreaking Cowboy Carter tour in Las Vegas, making history with the highest grossing country tour as she surpasses $400 million in earnings. So yeah, she made it in the history book. So congratulations to Miss Mamas. The Grammy-winning singer took her final bow on her Cowboy Carter and the Rodeo Chitlin Circuit tour at Allegiant Stadium in Vegas on July 26. She ended her run with a bang, bringing out Destiny's Child, Jay-Z, and Shaboozey for surprise performances. The concert signaled I wish you would have brought out Tanner Adele. They said the concert signaled the end of her Cowboy Carter era. Her 32-stop stadium tour that spanned the U.S. and Europe, the 9-city stint grossed over $400 million, with attendance over 1.5 million in its 3-month run, according to Live Nation. Billboard reported Beyonce's Cowboy Carter tour is the highest-grossing country tour of all time and the shortest tour in any genre to make over $400 million. And you know what? Maybe if Justin Timberlake would have followed her damn blueprint, he wouldn't be running out here giving half-ass shows of that tight-ass tour. He was just rapping. I think he's officially wrapping it up tomorrow, but the people have been complaining. He's been half-assing it. He's been pointing out the microphone to have the audience sing. He's been kind of dancing like some little girl's dad or whatever, even though he got 2 sons. Like, he been just looking like an old man up on that damn stage. Mind you, the Backstreet Boys is killing it out of the Sphere. Beyonce is killing it out on this tour. And we all around the same age. So there's no excuse why Justin Timberlake out here moving like he Donald Trump when he on stage. Like he's damn near, 43 going on 80. But Beyonce doing a short tour, shout out to Taylor Swift too, because I like the fact that Taylor Swift was smart with her Eras tour. Even though she toured, I believe, 2 years, she was taking breaks in between. So she's like, I'm going to travel the world. I'm going to do the tour. I'm going to take a month off. I'm going to do like maybe a couple of weeks, take a month off, come back, do the tour again for a couple of weeks, take another month off. Like, that's the best way to tour, in my opinion, instead of just being like, I'm going to just spend 2 years in a row, because that's killing, that's harsh on the body. Like, back in the day, that was something that we had to do because we was running around here as artists. You know, you running around like a damn pack mule, just doing what you got to do to just make the studios and the industry money. But the older you get, you got to be able to pace yourself a whole lot better. And the fact that Beyonce was doing multiple dates at stadiums, which I think was, you know, some people thought it was a bad idea. I remember in the beginning it was a little rocky, but nevertheless, she recouped a lot of that money. The people were showing up. I'm trying to remember. I think like it was divided, but I feel like people liked the Cowboy Carter tour more than they like Renaissance. If I remember correctly, even though she did take pieces of Renaissance and put it in the Cowboy Carter tour. Now they said that the 9-city stint grossed over $400 million with attendance of over 1.5 million in its 3-month run, according to Live Nation. Billboard reported Beyonce's Cowboy Carter tour is the highest grossing country tour of all time and the shortest tour by any genre to make over $400 million. Beyonce extends her record as the highest grossing Black artist of all time and the highest grossing R&B artist of all time. With her Cowboy Carter tour, she also becomes the first woman and the first American act to have 2 separate tours gross over $400 million, meaning that the Renaissance Tour Act 1 and this tour actually grossed over $400 million. Actually, to be specific, Beyonce's Renaissance World Tour Act 1 grossed reportedly $580 million in 2023. And everybody running around here, oh my God, Beyonce, I'm broke. I can't afford these tours. But guess what? People was showing up. People was paying the coins. People was happy, even though if they had restricted, view, people was going because they just wanted to be in the room and say that they were there. And y'all made Beyonce in this short amount of time money, which basically goes to show her that I could just do a 3-month tour, pick a couple of places, do multiple nights at stadiums, and make a crap ton of money. And there's no issue. You don't really have to spend 3 years or 2 years on the road. You could actually do a couple of months and select spaces, and people could, the show was the show. But I feel like if you're not going to do everywhere, then what Beyonce needs to do is take a page out of Madonna's handbook and record the tour, put it on DVD or a special on one of the streaming services, or like you did with Renaissance, put it in the theater, which we still waiting on an actual physical release of the Renaissance tour that you put out in theaters. So that way the fans can have that as part of, their collection. So they said, as fans know, Beyonce first debuted the highly anticipated show at SoFi Stadium in LA on April 28th with 39 songs on the set list. The tour proved to be a revolutionary spectacle filled with fashion, different music genres, and most notably country music and cultural commentary as she challenged industry norms. And I know that's why people are mad, because they're trying to say, oh, she ain't real country. She ain't a country artist. And I'm like, I know you crackers are not, I know you clear folks is not going to be running around here talking about Beyonce ain't country, this ain't country music, which we've seen a couple of you dry-haired, funky smelling racists have been running around saying. But it's like, if we really want to go there, y'all be mixing y'all genres too. I just worked Chris Stapleton's show. His show was not fully country. There's elements of blues and stuff in his music. So when y'all sit here, y'all want to talk about country because it got a white face on it, then y'all want to sit and y'all overlook the obvious. But you got a Black girl who's out here showing the history of country music, which stems from blues, which stems from rock and roll, which a lot of people believe Act 3 is going to be. And I'm hoping that Act 3 is going to be a rock album, or maybe another Destiny's Child album, and we finally get ourselves a Destiny's Child reunion tour, which I talked about yesterday. I'm like, look, that is definitely a tour I definitely will be spending money to go on, because we need to see DC on our stages yet again, as she teased bringing them out on the final act of, or the final night of the Cowboy Carter tour. So And then you already know that she's got everybody spooked and nervous, especially in the industry, because if Beyonce didn't have y'all shook by how influential she has been in regards of infiltrating the country music space, that y'all don't want to sit and say her music ain't country, which she did say this ain't a country, it's a Beyonce record. Then why are we creating different categories at the Grammys? Y'all did that with the Renaissance because she wanted to break my soul in the dance music space because y'all want to sit up here and colonize dance music, which we already know dance music comes from the people of color, black folks, and the homosexuals. But y'all want to sit up here and try to act like white people made it. Remember, y'all started that whole disco sucks thing. So y'all can't sit up here and try to claim dance music when y'all was out there doing, steamrolling over vinyl records of disco music because y'all had a problem with the gays, or not even just the gays, but the fact that everybody, because this is before my time, but I do watch a lot of history stuff. I would, sometimes I do wish that I was around during the disco era, but I feel like if I was, I would not be on this earth. I'd probably be one of the members that, one of the AIDS Holocaust casualties, with me being, with me out there whoring and all that other stuff during that era. So maybe it was a good thing that I wasn't a part of the whole disco era, but I do appreciate the music and everything now. And knowing that history, it was the one time that you saw that when you went to the discotheques, I think like Studio 54 and so many other nightclubs, the Warehouse, Paradise Garage, all those other places, that it was everybody was coming together on the dance floor. You had the blacks, you had the gays, you had women, you had straights, you had everybody having fun, enjoying the music, just living their hedonistic life. Then you had the haters with, who lack in the rhythm department, who got mad and started that whole disco sucks movement. So now we have this all going. So y'all had to go, y'all out here creating category because y'all mad that Beyonce won for Break My Soul. But it was a dance song, so why not? And now we have this thing with country. Y'all always trying to define and redefine and change up things because y'all get mad whenever black people get the sense, the power, and the wherewithal to infiltrate spaces that y'all have colonized for too damn long. But I hope at this point Beyonce is realizing that, you know what, I don't need y'all stinking awards and I don't need those other stuff. I've got enough. She got like 3 dozen damn Grammys as it is. She don't need no more. So at this point, it's like, how do you fulfill yourself? Because awards are just awards. Similar to what I said prior with the, the guy that did that No Other Land documentary, and the things that's happening in Palestine. And it's like, at the end of the day, it's just a freaking award. Like, it's only, it's great that I won, but there's still travesties happening in the world. And I feel like that's the same thing with Beyonce with the music. It's just like, a Grammy's great. It's great to win one. It's an honor to walk away with so many Grammys. But at the end of the day, how does that fulfill you as an artist? And, at this point, it's like she could easily just come out and just make vapid music, but she wants to create things with meaning, and people are mad. So apparently it's working. So, and I feel like Beyonce right now is in her Tina Turner era. So with Tina Turner no longer being with us, and she is an icon, I do feel like that is probably the next step that she's going to go with the music, and I'm here for it. So congratulations, Beyonce. I'm glad you're out here, still breaking records and you doing what you're doing with the music, and haters stay mad. So I definitely want to hear from y'all. What do you guys think of this story regarding Beyonce breaking records and all that other good stuff and making history in regards to the Cowboy Carter tour now that it's wrapped? Like I said, unfortunately I didn't get to go to the tour because I've been busy working a bunch of other tours, so and a bunch of other shows. So I haven't had time to really go out and see the Cowboy Carter tour. But I'm hoping that in some capacity it will end up as a physical release that I could watch. And without, watching people's videos and stuff on YouTube. I don't like watching those because a lot of those shows be looking a hot mess. But I do want to see like something that she put together. And hopefully she does put something out there. So I definitely want to hear from y'all. Let me know what your thoughts are on this story in the comments down below. All right. So now let's move on from Beyonce. And let's talk about Mariah. So Mariah is in the latest issue of Harper's Bazaar, and the elusive chanteuse isn't holding back on a plethora of topics. So now, in the article, she talked about her upcoming album, Here for It All, which I am here for, her marriage to Tommy Mottola, her upcoming TV show, and she's got a documentary coming out. And so, yeah, she addressed a lot of things. I thought the interview was relatively interesting. And so, of course, I compiled a bunch of headlines, all the highlights, I should say, in regards to what she talked about. Now, she addressed her memoir, which I absolutely loved. I listened to it on Audible, and especially because Mariah read it. So listening to that was even better. And learning all the tea that I learned from that, I was gagging. So I'm really looking forward to her putting this memoir out here as something that we could watch. So she said, working on it together was challenging, but it was also therapeutic. We stayed up late figuring out how we were going to put the story forth. I know it was going to bring up bad memories, and I didn't want to relive. It was a tough situation to go to sleep listening to it. I'd wake up and be kind of freaked out because this is me, and I went through that. Now, on veering, here's what she said about veering towards R&B, because at one point she was out here doing like these adult contemporary songs at such a young age, and Mariah's like, okay, these songs are cute, whatever, and I'm glad it's highlighting my voice. However, this ain't me. And she was trying to she was more like R&B hip hop girl because that was what her generation was listening to at the time. A lot of Rakim and a lot, Slick Rick, a lot of those type of artists. She wanted to incorporate that in her music. And her husband at the time, Tommy Mottola, wasn't here for it. So here's what she had to say. She said, I wanted to do more R&B, more urban music. And anytime I would bring it up, it would get shot down. It wasn't that I didn't like the music I was making. I just felt there was more inside me that I wanted to release. Only once she brought out the 1997 album Butterfly with its hip hop elements did she sense that she was being true to herself. She said, I felt free for the first time. Now, here she also told about receiving criticism. She said, it's nice when people say good things and give you a good response. And then if they don't like it and they don't say good things, you have to be able to push that away. Let that go, because why at this point in my life would I really be worried about that stuff? And it's like, what? At the end of the day, you have to realize that you got to put your stuff out there. You got to make what you want to make. There's going to be people that like what you do. There's going to be people that don't like what you do. But you can't let the negative opinions hinder you from doing what you want to do, and you can't allow the positive experiences or the positive opinions to just keep you stuck in a bubble. Always challenge yourself, always push yourself, and in order to make yourself a much better artist. So then she also went on and talked about the artists who she's listening to, the newer generation. She says she listens to, and enjoys listening to songs from Tate McRae, Sabrina Carpenter, Olivia Rodrigo, and Sabrina, I said Sabrina Carpenter. Tate McRae, Sabrina Carpenter, and Olivia Rodrigo. And she said, but only because she likes to keep up with what's on her teenage daughter's playlist. And to me, I feel like that's smart. That's how you stay young and youthful. And you already know Mariah said she don't believe in birthdays. She don't believe in time, age, all that other stuff. But I agree with that. It's like, all that is a construct. Age ain't number the damn number. You are how you feel. And so I'm like, I'm here for that. And I like the fact that she said she keeps her ear to the streets of what her younger contemporaries are doing and what her kids are listening to. And I feel like that's smart. It's the same thing like I say about Madonna. Three out of her 6 kids are DJs. So she needs to be aware of what is going on in the world in regards to what people are listening to, what's popping in the underground scene, and if that may influence you in some sort of way. And by 3 of her kids, I mean Lourdes, Rocco, and Esther are DJs, in case people didn't know that. Now, she also told about co-parenting. She said, other than music, her children are, she says, the major loves of her life. Moroccan, Rock, and Monroe, Rowe, are 14-year-old twins from her marriage to Nick Cannon, which began in 2008 following a whirlwind courtship and ended 6 years later. She is now rumored to be dating Anderson .Paak, though she will not go into detail on this other than to acknowledge that she is a romantic. Now, with Cannon, who has fathered 12 kids, and last year shared that he had been diagnosed with narcissistic personality disorder. You really need a diagnosis for that? We could have told you that based on you having all these damn kids. She co-parents the twins. She said, how do I say this? They spend time with him and they have a good time. They spend time with me and they have a good time. She says carefully, I want to make sure I'm always fair about the situation because it's tough to grow up with divorced parents. And I like the fact that she decided to even though there may be some things are brewing with her and Nick, who knows? And I'm glad that she's keeping that to herself and not putting that tea out here for people to just eat up and then run with. That she doesn't disrespect her children's father. Because I have to say, it has to be a challenge for him to try to figure out, how do you make time with having 12 children? But you're the one that made your bed, so you got to figure that out, sir. Now, on her upcoming TV series, documentary, and more, she says, as well as trailing new music, she's working on a documentary about her life and a scripted series adapted from her memoir. I think that's the one that Lee Daniels is working on. I doubt that she will ever retire, but once again, she has a quip ready. She says, I might go hang out with Santa Claus in the North Pole. If Mariah Carey wants Father Christmas to exist, I'm sure she'll make it happen. And you already know she's the Queen of Christmas. So she's got that album that she could always perform for the rest of her life. And she's got her regular music. And so I always say this about people when y'all talk about, oh, will you ever retire? Some people always try to be out here hating, somehow, oh, well, celebrities need to retire, blah, 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 so and so. I'm like, artists don't retire. People with jobs retire. People with careers do not retire. Like, if people with careers are doing what they love to do, hence, why the hell would you retire? Unless you're a CEO and exec of some company. That's a job you retire from because that's business. But if you're an artist, as long as you have that spark in you to want to create and you're inspired, you keep going until you're like Michael Douglas, where it's like, okay, I don't have it in me anymore. I'm done. I'm ready to just live out my golden years. Now, last but certainly not least, she did open up about Tommy Mottola and said, sometimes I feel angry about that time, but I think I've made peace with it. In any case, I vowed I'd stop talking about it. The music superstar added that she tries to laugh off that period in her life, and saying humor is my release, and people who know me know that, she told the magazine. I'll make jokes about what happened because otherwise I can make every day a sob story. It's a coping mechanism, but it's my nature to laugh. By then, the couple had already separated, and they were talking about this whole situation. They finalized the divorce in March of 1998, and now he's married to Thalia. Hopefully she's not in a similar prison. I was a prisoner situation as Mariah, but if she is, that's what you got to deal with, niece. But I'm glad that Mariah found her independence. She's like, you know what? There's so many things that happen with that marriage that I'm not happy about. And it's like, yeah, laughter is the best medicine. That's a coping mechanism where it has with a lot of people. Like, to me, I'll even say that too. Like, for me, I crack jokes. If I have things in my life that were personal, that was a dark period, I laugh it off. I make jokes because it's like, if I go and I dwell on that situation, you fall into a deep depression. You may unalive yourself. I was going to say, or worse. What is more worse than unaliving yourself? But yeah, I'm just glad that she's able to find, that part of herself. It's like, you know what? I had all the things I had to deal with in life. I just laugh it off. And I found a way to deal with it. So shout out to you, Mariah. I'm looking forward to the new album when that comes out, which is September 26th. September 26th clearly can't get fast enough, but I don't want to rush it because September 2nd is my birthday. So I'm not trying to rush the birthday to get here. So it's literally like a month away, a month and a couple of days. So I'm looking forward to the Mariah album. So far, the 2 songs she's released, I'm liking. And I feel like my girl Mariah is back. She had a little rough patch at some point, but yeah, she's giving me some bops, which I was hoping that she would do. It feels fresh and youthful and fun and all that other stuff. And I'm looking forward to the new music in full when it's released. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story with Mariah and all the highlights that I just gave y'all regarding her Harper's Bazaar UK interview? If you haven't seen the pictures, definitely check them out online. It's a lot of great photos. I wanted to show y'all, but I would have been. It's hard being a one-man band where you're trying to read articles and trying to pull up a collage of pictures for y'all to see in regards to the whole Mariah situation. But yeah, definitely check out the photos and stuff. They're all online if you can get around to them. So yeah, let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. Rose says Mariah's documentary is gonna be fire. I hope that Patty LaBelle does one. So I love me some Patty. I just saw her the other day on Celebrity Family Feud. That was a good episode. So I love Patty. I would love to see her do a documentary. She definitely needs one. And I'm still pissed that people be out here blaming her, talking about, oh, you outed Luther Vandross. Child, Helen Keller knew that Luther Vandross was a homosexual. So let's not go there with that. Oh, she outed him. Really? Really? Okay. Oh, you said Tommy wanted to make her an alternate Celine Dion, since Celine was always doing more adult contemporary music. So who came out before first? Was it? Well, I guess it was Celine, because Celine was making music since she was like 13, right? He said, diagnosed. I could have told Nick Cannon that for free. Okay. The thing with Type Dangerous is it kind of sounds like a for B-side. Mm-hmm. Oh, I finally got around to hearing that birthday song. Yeah, I was about to say why that's. I mean, it's a cute song, but I was like, why? And I do agree with Cleveland, whose real name is Raphael, by the way. But Cleveland, when it said, it sounded like a what is that? Oh, he said like a PCD demo. I wouldn't be surprised if it was initially a PCD demo that they never put out, because you already know like songs float around to a bunch of people before the artist actually sings it. And we all know Jennifer is notorious for singing other people's songs. And that's not shade. I'm just saying, because that Louboutin song, that was a Brandy song before Jennifer was singing it, and a bunch of other songs that she had gotten in. But they all the artists get a lot of does that. Where it's initially this artist song before it passes to this one and ends up being their song or whatever. But yeah, I heard the song. I was like, this do not sound like Jennifer vocally on it, because she sings it on her. She sings a lot of these new songs on her tour. The songs aren't bad though. Or a song they could do a duet, since she's not belting it out. But you're trying to say that you want Mariah and Jennifer to do a song? That's not happening. That is not happening, because remember, Mariah don't know her. Okay, let me close that out, and let's move on, and let's talk about Madonna, because Julia Garner is opening up about that biopic that we still waiting on. We don't even know if she said it's still happening. I guess it's going to happen when the Blade movie happens. But nevertheless, Julia Garner is opening up about this movie that she's supposed to be starting. We already know the Michael Jackson one is done. Finally, they just spent a whole lot of money doing reshoots. If I'm not mistaken, it was that third act. So during a recent interview on the Smart Less podcast, the actress was asked by hosts Will Arnett, Sean Hayes, and Jason Bateman for a status update on where the show Universal Biopic stands, to which she responded, yeah, I mean, that's supposed to still happen. As for how she landed the role of the Queen of Pop, Garner, who's 31, said she's such a fan of Madonna's and grew up listening to the Vogue singer. She said it just came about the Ozark alum added of the audition. She said, I knew they were doing a project, making a movie about it, and then I went out to audition. I kind of just wanted to see if I could do it, because I wasn't a trained dancer, and I had to learn how to dance and then dance in front of her and convince her that I can dance, basically, and sing with her. She added that despite being nervous, the Fantastic Four First Steps actress kept telling herself, okay, what will Madonna do? Which is convince you that she deserves, to be in the room. And I owned it. And I was kind of like, you can take it or leave it. But if you leave it, if I leave, then that's on you. And thinking about that, I'm like, that's exactly how she got it. Because everybody knows when it comes to Madonna doesn't want people, like when people always talk about like why her dancers are so good, she does not want dancers. She wants dancers that have a sense of confidence, a sense of personality, and are sure of themselves in a lot of ways. Even if you're not even sure of yourself at that point, fake it. Get in that room and fake it, because she's had to do that her whole life. So she looks to seeing if she could see a bit of herself in a lot of the people that she works with. And so when it comes down to it, Julia Garner being like, I'm not a trained dancer. I wasn't a trained singer, but I went in there and I was like, look, I'm going to sit up in there and I'm going to convince you that I can do the things that are required of this biopic. And from what we heard, anybody who auditioned for this whole thing was put through the ringer. So I definitely think that I would love to see, and Julia Garner is a really good actress. Like I just told y'all when I gave my review of Fantastic Four First Steps, that I thought she did a great job as Shalabal. especially how commanding she was and her voice and everything, her backstory, that sort of thing. I think she'd make a great Madonna. And I'm really hoping this movie gets made. But I don't think it's the same. I don't think there's any attachment like the one that's supposed to happen with Sean Levy, because I know Sean Levy is doing a limited series for Netflix. But I don't know what's happening with the Universal Pictures thing, because Madonna was working on the script. She was supposed to direct, and then Universal shelved it. From what I heard, is because she demanded $100 million. But here's the thing. If you're going to give, and I've said this before, Michael Jackson and Madonna were on the same even playing field regardless of their impact in music. He was the male equivalent of it. It was like there was a trifecta. We have our Mount Rushmore of icons from the 80s. There was Madonna, Michael Jackson, Prince, and I'll even throw in Whitney Houston. That's the Mount Rushmore of of our 80s icons. And I know some people probably be like, okay, Whitney Houston not so much, but Whitney Houston had huge impact and still did, even to the day she passed, I would say. But if we're gonna talk about that whole situation, if they can I'm trying to remember who it was, Lionsgate, and I'm sure they probably have other distributors that were part of the film. But if the Michael Jackson biopic can get over $150 million damn dollars, and I'm sure it's probably ballooned since then, because like I said, they had to do reshoots on this Michael Jackson biopic, hence why they had to delay it. And now it's been moved up to April of 2026. So if they had to do that whole situation, if y'all can give Michael Jackson $150 million to make his movie, then you can give Madonna $100 million to make her movie. But as I stated before, Madonna, I love you, but please don't direct this movie. If you want to write the script, if you want to be a part of this whole situation, you can. I understand you're a control freak. You like being in control of a lot of things, but we want this movie to get made. Let the people that are professionals and understand how the movie world works do what they got to do. You are not proven to be box office gold when it comes to the cinema stuff. You're a guaranteed shoe-in in making money when it comes to the music. We know you're going to eat when it comes to, or everybody's going to eat when you take it behind on tour, when you release music. I mean, I just heard that Veronica Electronica is #1. So congratulations on that. Even though, like I stated before, I own every last damn track. Except Gone Gone Gone. Gone 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 was a demo. It was floating around in bootleg spaces. But for the most part, the fact that I have these songs on digital versus me having to buy every damn maxi single that was released internationally and nationally, just so that I can have a piece of all the different remix dance tracks of Madonna's music for the past 2 decades, starting from Ray of Light and all this other stuff. We're talking about that era. I do feel like you haven't proven yourself in the movie world. So let the professionals who understand what's going on, who know biopics and all other stuff, handle that. I don't know who we can get to direct the movie. Because, I mean, to direct the movie or whatever, because I can't think of anybody. I mean, Joseph Kahn, who was supposed to be directing the Britney biopic, but I don't think that's going to happen. Maybe he could direct it once he's done with his Hot Wheels movie. But and Sean Levy, we know, was doing the Netflix thing. I don't know if Julia Garner is going to be part of that. Maybe she could be, but that's what we're waiting on right now. So I saw this. I'm hoping that we get this biopic sooner or later. I mean, Julia is still relatively young. She's 31, so she's still got plenty of years on her. But we don't need to get to a place where we're going to be waiting as long as we're going to wait for this damn Blade movie. And Mahershala Ali is already in his 50s, still waiting to suit up as a daywalker for this movie to get off, to get made. So Universal, figure it out. Stop leaving Julia hanging around. I mean, I'm sure that, she's going to keep acting until then, but don't let her get too damn busy where y'all finally got all your I's dotted and your T's crossed, and she's still waiting to get this movie done. And then she's off doing other projects. You got to wait until she's got time on her schedule, because you already know it's going to be a lot of time that you got to put into this whole thing. The dance rehearsals, the vocal lessons, all that other stuff. Acting, she already got that damn pack. She don't need to, she probably just have to pick up Madonna's dictions of how she talked in those days, which is not going to be hard because Julia is a good actress. So I'm not worried about her in that part. But the dancing stuff, the singing stuff, all that gravitas that she's got to bring of the Madonna-isms, that's what she's got to bring to that film. And I truly believe that she has the ability to do that. But I just need y'all to figure out what the hell y'all doing, and let's get this movie made. If Universal is still not willing to pony up, then release the damn stuff and let them take this to another damn studio who's willing to get this movie made. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story regardless of what Julia Garner had to say about the, giving us an update on this biopic, this long in the tooth, often delayed biopic, which they said was like 2023. So we're in 2025. It's been 2 years. We're still waiting for this movie to get made. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. The number says, I don't know about Madonna, but I love Julia Garner since Ozark. I don't know about Madonna, but I do love Julia Garner. I've loved her since Ozark too. And then she did that Anna Delvey series. And then, I didn't see The Wolfman, probably because I heard so many bad things about it, so I didn't give myself to watch it. So I know she was in The Wolfman. That was a miss, but I did like her in Fantastic Four First Step. So I definitely want to see her in that. So I just hope there's actual care behind this biopic. The Bob Dylan biopic was terrible. Oh, was it? Because I've been meaning to get around to it with Timothée Chalamet, but you saying it's terrible. I'm like, well, I don't know if I want to watch it now. It was clearly just made as Academy. You're probably thinking it's Academy bait. Like you were trying to see if Timothée Chalamet, y'all were just making this as a tool for Timothée Chalamet to, my camera keeps moving, which is annoying. It's Oscar bait, I guess is what you're trying to say. And even they barely liked. Yes, Julia does have a movie coming out next week called Weapons. I've been talking about that on the show. It's like, yeah, Weapons is coming out. I'm looking forward to it only because it's a horror. And the fact that Julia's in it is even better. Of course, what the hell's his name? Josh Brolin, who I've loved since The Goonies. He's in it, so I'm looking forward to seeing that film when it comes out. I'm going to see it in theaters. I've nothing but great things about it, and I'm a big fan of Zach Cregger's. I love The Barbarian. Hearing great things about Weapons. I'm looking forward to seeing what he's going to bring to the Resident Evil franchise because he is directing that next. He's developing it. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing that when it comes out next week. So I know I definitely got to buy a ticket and go see it. They made Joan Baez look crazy in the biopic. They also struggled to get newer fans into Bob. To be honest, I've never really been into Bob Dylan. I've always found like he was a horrible singer. I just could never get into Bob Dylan. That's probably one of the reasons why I didn't care for the biopic. So everything you saying, I'm going to take your word for it. Yes, the Black Phone 2 trailer, they played that I saw it already because all the new trailers that come out on YouTube, I watch them. But they show the Black Phone 2 trailer if you go say, I Know What You Did Last Summer. It looks good. And I like the fact that the Black Phone 2 is kind of going more supernatural, very A Nightmare on Elm Street like that, because we're still waiting to we're still waiting to see Freddy Krueger back on the big screen. But since y'all dragging y'all feet with that, I guess we just gonna have to accept it in the form of Ethan Hawke. And I loved The Black Phone. I watched it twice. I remember I watched it by myself, and then I was like, I had my roommates. I was like, oh, y'all need to sit and watch this movie. And we all sat, had ourselves a movie night, got ourselves some Dominoes, and sat and watched the movie. And absolutely loved it. One of my roommates, Devin, hates horror. He's not really big on horror movies. He scares easily, but as always, I love when people are like scaredy cats and getting them to watch because it's just, I'm sadistic in that way. I get off on like scaring people and all that other stuff. And seeing him jump was just hilarious, or screaming, because he has like this high-pitched scream, which is always hilarious. And he's straight too. But yeah, so having that whole situation was just funny. So seeing that movie, it was like I just enjoyed it. So I'm definitely looking forward to the sequel when it comes out. I just hope it doesn't suck. Because Blumhouse, y'all been disappointing me lately. Oh, and speaking of which, I'm looking forward to Five Nights at Freddy's too. I might be in the minority that actually liked Five Nights at Freddy's, but I didn't know much about it, so that's why I enjoyed it. I went in like completely blind. Like I don't know the history of like Five Nights at Freddy's and all the other stuff. But from what I saw, I liked, and this sequel looks really good. And I like Josh Hutcherson. I mean, I've loved Josh Hutcherson since Zathura. So I'm looking forward to seeing this movie when it comes out. Madonna just needs to let it be unauthorized, because I hate to say it, if it's authorized, no studio is going to touch it. At least Netflix docuseries can be the truth. Yeah, let the show do the show, but let them do what they need to do. But she's such a control freak. She's her own worst enemy. She's standing in the way of giving the fans what we want. And we don't usually get no shade. We don't usually get, we love the music. We love that you push boundaries, all this stuff. But as fans of Madonna, she don't give the fans what we want. It's like we damn near got to twist her arm back for her to actually give the fans what they want when it comes to certain things. Because I just think Guy O'Siri and them knowing what the hell they doing over there. Nightmare is going to be remastered 4K and have a series. Well, I'm kind of, you know what? I don't know. Maybe when I'm done with the show, I might actually put on A Nightmare on Elm Street or Friday the 13th. Like, I'm in one of those moods tonight of like watching some Friday the 13th. So I might actually when I get off. Because before I was putting together this show, I was watching a lot of YouTube, and I need to kind of give YouTube a break. Except, but that Innocence Lost movie was terrible. I don't think I ever watched that. And then they got the girl back to play. Was that Tarumi? Was that her name that did that? To play her again in the Dennis Rodman TV, which I never watched that either. Robert says, I liked it, but they have Gen Z friends and it's their property. Oh, you said I have Gen Z friends. Wait, what did you like? What are we talking about? We talking about something different. Oh, you talking about you talking about Five Nights at Freddy's. We be jumping around talking about so much stuff. Like, as soon as I'm done talking, I'll be forgetting what It said the more alternative crowd treated Five Nights at Freddy's as their Barbie in 2023 when the first movie came out. No, so I liked it. I'm watching a new South Park episode tonight. I already found a way to watch it live without cable. I have Paramount Plus, so I got to wait till tomorrow to watch it. Looking forward to the Five Nights at Freddy's 2. Josh Hutcherson. Yes, he can. He is such a cutie. But yes, he is. I told her I've always had a little crush on Josh Hutcherson. It's them short ones. Him and Elijah Wood. But Elijah Wood in that new Toxic Avenger movie, he looks terrible. He looks like the guy from Rocky Horror Picture Show. They really uglied him up. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing him in this movie. I'm still not believing Danny Ramirez and Jessica Alba out here hunching. And then I heard the story about Ana de Armas is out here getting banged out by Tom Cruise. I'm like, sis, don't become one of them Scientologists unless you are one already. Oh, they was dragging her on social media, speaking of which, because she liked the anti-Nicole Kidman post. Hold on, because I got the screenshot. I wasn't going to make this a story, but I was like, since I had the receipt, I'm going to bring it up for y'all. So let me see. Where is it? Oh, she liked this one. And it had the screenshot. It said, yeah, that one. And it said, it says, liked by Ana de Armas and others. So she was up in here liking a picture of Nicole Kidman looking a mess. And the people were saying, we hate to see what you look like at 60. And it's like, I know we're not up in here like an anti-Nicole Kidman post on the strength of Tom Cruise, whatever it was that he's telling you. Because if you end up in a situation similar to Katie Holmes, that's on you. But at least Katie Holmes was smart. She had an attorney for her father that was able to get her out of the situation she was in with that damn cult leader. AKA Tom Cruise. It's like, we like the movies. I like the Mission Impossibles and things. But as a person, the personification of evil. Ask Leah Remini. She'll tell you. You and me both. The easy to, especially the short king bottoms. Let me not be too fresh point. It said, Mimi clapped back at a fan. I sent the photo to you. They wanted her to do not do Bruno Mars. That's why she got Anderson .Paak. She don't need Bruno. Anderson .Paak is the real deal. Whereas Bruno's a damn colonizer. Hold on. See this picture. Oh, they said the songs you released so far are weak. What about a duet with Bruno Mars? Why, you think she's Rosé? She need to collaborate with Bruno? And they said, or an upbeat track with Ariana. She did an upbeat track with Ariana. It's called what the hell is that damn song called? Yes, and She did that song. And here's the thing. I did not like the version of Yes and because you could definitely tell they were not in the studio together. In my opinion, listening to that song, I felt like Mariah's vocal was, and I heard this the other day when I was working at Citi Field. They actually played the song and they reminded me. It literally took me there just now. Mariah's vocals was way too high on that song. It was like, it just didn't match what Ariana was doing. So it felt like you were singing at a register, you were trying to out-sing Ariana on her own song. And it's like, no, this ain't working. Like whoever produced Mariah's vocals should have been a little more honest in how she was singing that song. So I didn't like Mariah's vocals on that. So you're talking about an upbeat song with Ariana. She already did one. Where the hell were you? So yeah, this person said about the Ariana, she says, so far the songs have been weak with unknown female singers. And Mariah said, I love the songs and blew a kiss. And that's what she said. At the end of the day, I'm the one that gotta like the songs. You don't have to like what I'm doing. You could listen to the songs or you could move on. But if I'm the one in the studio putting the songs together and I'm satisfied with it, that's the most important thing. I make music for me. Now, if y'all want to hear it and y'all want to support it, that's great. But I don't make music. And I feel like all artists should feel this way. It's like, I don't make music for the consumer. I mean, I hope the consumers like what I make, but at the end of the day, I'm the one that got to live with these tracks. I'm the one that has to sing these songs for the rest of my life. However long I plan on being an artist, you hope that the fandom likes it. But for the most part, it's like, bitch, I don't make music for you. And you don't have to like it. You don't have to support the album when it comes out. So, I'm tired of adjusting the damn camera. It's like, why do you keep moving these? I need you to stay still. Okay, it said, you said, but contemporary. Mariah isn't even Ariana's #1 favorite artist or inspiration anymore. It's Imogen Heap. I said, child, first of all, Ariana ain't even out here making the music that people want to be hearing. I mean, as y'all already know, I didn't particularly care for Eternal Sunshine, but stop telling people who they should work with. Anyway, let's move on, y'all. Well, I just think I saw another. I thought something else came in. All right, let's get into our next topic. And let's talk about Katy Perry, who may have moved on from Orlando Bloom and got herself a prime minister. Looks like she might be out here hunching Justin Trudeau because apparently, according to the tabloids, that be TMZ, they said that they spotted her out on a dinner date with none other than Justin Trudeau, who actually appeared, I believe, didn't he appear on Canada's Drag Race in an episode? But you know, he ain't he's not he's actually a former Canadian prime minister. Because remember, they got themselves a new one a couple of months ago. So yeah, he's not in the politics. I mean, he's not out here governing. But according to the report, they said the dark horse singer was 40 and the politician 53. I'm like, 53? First of all, he looked good. Okay, his white is not whiting. I'm glad that some of you white folks out here be moisturizing and taking care of yourselves and don't be looking rough like Hulk Hogan and Donald Trump, whose skin looked like a worn out bag from Temu, or a fake pleather bag from Temu, I should say. Now it says that they recently grabbed a bite to eat at the swanky restaurant Le Volant, per reports obtained by TMZ. In the photos, Perry appeared to be engaged in a conversation as she leaned across the table during their chat. An eyewitness told the outlet that the pair, who were monitored closely by security guards, well, yeah, he is a political figure, so I guess that, you know, they got to watch him, make sure she don't put nothing in his food. I'm kidding. Enjoyed cocktails and shared several dishes, including one with lobster. Oh, I love seafood. Sure he do too. If you know what I'm saying, and I think you do. Now, at one point, the chef came out to speak to Perry and Trudeau per the outlet reports, noting that after they finished their meal, they went to the kitchen to personally thank the chef. Page 6 has reached out to reps for both Perry and Trudeau for comment, but did not immediately hear back. Well, yeah, because ain't none of your damn business. They out sitting having a good time. They kikiing, they eating, they're conversing with each other, and maybe it'll develop to something else. But I have to say, if you are dating her, I hope it's just something a little cute, a little yum bounce about, a little something y'all getting into, like a little drive-by or whatever. and not nothing serious, because here's the thing. She just got out of a relationship with Orlando. They were almost together for 10 years. Allegedly, he was cheating. Wouldn't be surprised if that was it was a fact. Because Orlando definitely gives me insecure male that likes to stick his peen in other women. But because he got a baby with Katy, that he was just sticking around trying to be the doting dad or whatever the case is, the doting boyfriend. However, the heart or the dingaling wants what it wants. I won't say the heart. His dingaling allegedly likes to wander. But here's the thing. He's not his only child. I believe he has a child with Irina Shayk, if I'm not mistaken. He has more than one child. He has a child from a previous relationship with a model. I think it's Irina Shayk. I could be wrong, but I believe that's who he has a relationship with. So they said, well, I was saying that the only reason why it would make sense that she would be seeing Justin is because she's got to be in Canada. Because, on the 11th, I believe, I was actually working her Lifetimes tour at the Garden, which one of my coworkers wanted to trade a shift with me for another Lady Gaga concert. I was like, no, ma'am. Well, it's a guy. But I was like, no, I'm not swapping. Because even though with all the stuff I've said about Katy, I kind of do want to work the tour just so I can say I did it, giving my overall thoughts about it, and it'd be grist for the show. So I'm not going to give up that one show and work 4 Lady Gagas. 3 is enough. So, and then when I'm done doing those shows, I'll give y'all my overall thoughts of the Mayhem tour and all that other. So y'all know how I do on here with the reviews. So yeah, so her and Orlando have split. She's in Canada right now. And it would be a good look to see a pop star like her with someone like a Justin Trudeau. But with someone as vapid as and completely out of touch with the world, would be with somebody who has world views, that is a former leader of Canadian politics, that they would be able to their relationship would work in that way. Would they be an interesting dynamic, or is just a sexual thing? Like, I just feel like, for what we've seen with Katy Perry's career choices, she's about as deep as a pond. So I can't see what she would have in common with someone like Justin Trudeau. And this is no shade. I'm just saying this from observation. And, the many conversations that we've had talking about Katy and a lot of the career choices she's made and a lot of what she tries to talk about with music. And then, in regards to when she's tried to get political in the past, and try to show that she can be deep, it just comes across a bit as tone deaf. So, she also had, so with her, we already know about her and Orlando, but they said Justin and his estranged wife, Sophie Gregoire Trudeau, announced their separation in 2023 after being together for 18 years. They have 3 kids. Xavier, who's 17, Ella Grace, who's 16, and Hadrian, who's 11. So, like I was saying about Danny Ramirez and Jessica Alba, I'm not trying to get in no relationship with somebody who's still in a relationship with their ex. They have not finalized their divorce. They have a bunch of kids. Except the thing with Katy is like, at least Katy has a child. Justin has children. So there's a relatability there. And because they both have children from previous relationships, but Justin's on the throes of being out of his relationship. Same thing with Katy. So that's a little, I don't know how, well, if they could figure out how to make that work, that's on them. And it just seems like this is something that's relatively fresh and new. I will definitely keep you guys abreast of the story as it develops. But in the meantime, I definitely want to hear from you. What do you guys think in regards of, do you think, this story, do you think that Katy and Justin will make a great dynamic duo in regards to like a relationship? I can't say it because I'm thinking like with a pop star as vapid as Katy Perry will be with somebody who's seems like is very much a deep thinker, like a Justin Trudeau, somebody who like engulfed in politics and world views and things of that nature. Maybe he could, who knows, maybe he could teach her a thing or two and she could be a sponge and maybe learn some things instead of thinking that she made, an impact because she got to go, give a little rim job to space in Jeff Bezos' stupid little shuttle. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. Honestly, both of them peaked in 2013. Seafood. He like, that child did not say, that's what I was getting at with the seafood. I'm glad you caught it. He like clams, oysters. Justin was on Canada versus the World for a workroom appearance, but he didn't judge the episode. I can admit that he is fine in my exact Well, I definitely like a man that has some brains on him. And that's a rarity, you seeing somebody good looking and smart. Shout out to y'all. I'm like, what's the catch? Okay, y'all, child, let's get into this foolishness. Let's talk about Hulk Hogan. Because apparently, his ex-wife, I was about to say Brooke, that's the daughter, Linda, is out here talking about she melting down because the father of her children is gone. But I'm like, sis, are we suffering from Stockholm syndrome? Because that man has called you every name but the child of God. His current wife and Terry was out here mocking you when you were having a little breakdown on, I don't know if it was on one of the social medias, and you sitting there talking about how I love him. I miss me some Terry. Okay, daughter. But let's get into it. Or auntie, because she older than me. So I don't know why I said daughter. I guess if I was talking about Brooke, it'd be daughter, even though she's only a couple of years younger than me. Brooke is like 37. So yeah, we'll get into that in a second. But anyway, so the devastated ex-wife of late WWE icon Hulk Hogan, Linda Hogan, says she is melting down as she broke her silence on her former husband's death in a lengthy statement, saying, quote, I had no idea he would pass away this soon. Child, he was old. What was you expecting? But let's get into it. Was he like 70? She said, we all really thought he would make a comeback, she wrote in the comments section of her July 19 Instagram post, in which she reminisced about the good old days with her ex-husband. Linda, who's 65, said that the entire Hogan family is devastated about his passing, which is hitting her so hard, saying, quote, I love the Hulkster more than he loved me, clearly. It hurt when he cheated, but he was so famous, I sort of what? I think she meant I sort of understood, but it was crushing. It hurt. What? Okay, hold on, because there is so many things in here. I'm like, the way that she's spelling it. It said, but he was so famous, you understood, but it was crushing. It hurt. Sad face ever got over him. I wish I would have screenshotted this to show y'all what it says. So y'all can see this thing, because my brain is hurting trying to, decipher what the hell she's saying. It says, I be sad emoji ever got over him or started a real relationship with anyone. I miss him. I've been weeping all day. The finality, it's just shocking. We spent every minute together for so many years. I've known him since he was 28 years old. I was 22. I still love him, even though I never spoke with him. Nick did. And Nick would tell me things and vice versa. Just news about life, the mama two added. I still felt, although broken, we were still a family. It's so hard to know he's just gone. I tried to stay strong for Nick, but I'm melting down now. It's very sad. I love you, Hulkster. You were my man, the only man for me, RIP. And I totally understand that. It's like, all jokes aside, with us knowing about how, in the end of the day, regardless of putting the wrestling stuff aside, that Terry Hogan was a piece of shit. The fact that he was a philanderer, he was a liar. He lied about a lot of things where he said that he partied with this one, he was friends with this one, he did things with this one. Y'all can look it up, Google Schmoogle. All that stuff is out there. Then at one point, Jesse Ventura was trying to get wrestlers unionized because there was a lot of dangerous things that they were doing in the WWF at the time. This idiot went and decided to go snitch to Vince McMahon what Jesse Ventura was trying to do. And he was out here getting accused of using steroids, that whole controversy with everything. And then the racism stuff, and then the thing with his daughter, talking about, the racist stuff that he had talked about. Then he went and had what was his name? Randy's, what was it, the other wrestler? I can't remember his name. The one that he slept with his wife and did the sex tape with. There was a bunch of stuff. This man was now I could see why he was, he liked Donald Trump. birds of a feather. They had a lot in common. Minus, I don't think Hope was out here hunching underage girls, allegedly. So, as y'all know, so you know what? Regardless of all the other things aside, I do understand that is the father of her children. She's, they had a lot of decades together. A lot of time when you have history with someone, you want to remember the good times. And it's like, yeah, I don't want to focus on the bad and be like, oh, may that bastard rot in hell. Like, you don't want to have that kind of energy. So I totally get what she's dealing with. But that man treated you like crap, which is why I understand why she said, I loved him more than he loved me. And I think he knew it. Because in so many ways, that man's a sociopath. But I understand that's the father of your children. That was your husband. That was your love of your life. And you want to remember the good times. So I'll give you a pass on that. But I still say you're a piece of shit. And he could burn in hell being a racist. And, me having the unfortunateness of having to deal with having to work that Trump rally at Madison Square Garden, him saying all the stuff he said. Now, they also said a source close to the Hogan family told the Daily Mail that Hope knew he had a weak heart that was deteriorating, saying that he was suffering from shortness of breath, got tired easily, had lost a lot of weight, and was on oxygen. Well, who knew all of that? And the funny thing was, she said, like, she expected him to live. But I'm like, if y'all knew this, then y'all didn't think to go try to see if y'all can get him a transplant or help him out or whatever the case was, or was that not in the cards? But then again, that could be his karma for, of course, like I said, he was trying to, what he did when wrestlers were busy trying to get unionized back in the day, he sabotaged that by running to Vince McMahon. He didn't have health care that could have got him a heart transplant or whatever the case was. So they said, with Hulk knowing his health is declining, he reportedly spent time trying to mend rifts with estranged loved ones, especially his daughter Brooke, saying he had a lot of scores to settle. This is what another source explained, adding that Hulk didn't want to leave anything unsaid. The insider said that there was a little strain with his daughter and their relationship that had taken quite the emotional toll, but he always thought he would eventually be able to rectify that. Now, since we're on this conversation about Brooke, let's get into it. So Brooke Hogan actually is broken her silence, I should say, in regards to her father. Now I should say he also remember when I mentioned his wife, he has a wife by the name of Sky Daly, and they said his 2 kids. So I don't think he had any children with Sky, but that's the latest on that. So let me get to this Brooke story where she basically broke her silence on her father's death. The former reality star was 37, took to social media on Tuesday, July 29th, that'd be today, to share a lengthy emotional message about her father, whose real name is Terry Bollea. In the extensive Instagram post, Brooke detailed her father's health over the last few years and set the record straight on her estrangement from the Hulkster. She began by discussing her deep bond with her father and said the following: "When he left this earth, it felt like a part of my spirit had left with him. I felt it before the news even reached us," Brooke wrote. "I know he's at peace now, out of pain, and in a place as beautiful as he imagined. He used to speak about this moment with such wonder and hope, like meeting God was the greatest championship he ever had." Then saying it was necessary to clear a few things up, Brooke explained, I said Brooklyn, that's my cousin name. Brooke explained that it was not a single fight or one moment that caused their estrangement. She said it was a series of private phone calls no one will ever hear, no one understand. My father was confiding in me about issues weighing on his heart, both personal and business. I offered to be a life raft in whatever capacity he needed. I told him he had my support. I begged him to rest, to take care of himself. Brooke said that she and her husband, former NHL player Stephen Oleski, moved to Florida to be closer to Hulk as he dealt with health issues, saying, quote, "We had been through almost 25 surgeries together, and then all of a sudden he didn't want me at surgeries. Everything started getting covered in a thick veil. It was like there was a force field around him that I couldn't get through. He was telling me these things, being so vulnerable with me, and heard my pleas. Then suddenly something shifted and he made a choice to walk the path that clearly tore at his spirit. I felt a disconnect. What followed more were respectful disagreements that took an emotional toll on me. During the last 2 years, I had to step away to protect my heart. Now, during that time, Oleski had stayed in contact with Hogue without me knowing, trying to find a safe way back in for me. After my father passed, I read those messages, some answered, some ignored, but all of them broke my heart. Saying, I know in my heart I did everything I could. He knew I would run through a burning building for him. And in many ways, along the path of life, I did. He knows how deeply, how hard, and how purely I loved him. I'm at peace knowing this. So I'm wondering what was it that, caused the rift, because she said that there was a beef, there was a rift there, but she wasn't specific as what it was. So I'm wondering, was it the fact that, she was out there dating black men and he didn't like the fact that she was out there messing with the chocolate? Because he said, I guess the only time he wanted to see his daughter with a black man was if he had some kind of money, like he was an athlete or something like that, playing in the stereotypes. That the only time y'all can tolerate, black folk is if they're in the NFL, the NBA, or they're a rapper. I remember at one point, Brooke was being, she was out there being a pop star, like the Jessica Simpsons and the Britneys and all those other girls. She had cute little bops. Her career never popped off the way it needed to, but there was that. And maybe it was because he knew that his health was declining and so many other things was going on, that out of all his children, you always have like your daughters are like very close with the fathers. So daddy's little girl, whatever, she probably felt like he was trying to keep her away because he didn't want her to see him in a certain light. So they also said that the post comes 5 days after emergency services was called to Hogan's home in Clearwater Beach, Florida at 9:51 a.m. local time, according to dispatch calls received by people. The WWE legend also shared son Nick Hogan and with Brooke's mother, ex-wife Linda, as you already know. Brooke, who along with her family starred on the reality show Hogan Knows Best from 2005 to 2007, did not attend his wedding to his third wife, Sky Daly, on September of 2023. Her estrangement was the subject of a March 2025 IG story by her mother, Linda. Brooke doesn't talk to us. She had twins. She got married, and she didn't tell us. This is what Linda 65 said in the story. Since leaving the Hogan family spotlight, Brooke has ventured into design, launching BB Designs by Brooke in 2018. So hopefully saying that she got an estrangement from her mother. I didn't even know she got married to a hockey player. They got married in 2022. Then she wound up having twins, Oliver, Andrew, and Molly Jean, fraternal twins, I should be specific, in January of this year. So she just had these babies a couple of months ago. And wound up going off and having, getting married and living her own life. Had an estrangement from her father. According to Linda, she wasn't really on speaking terms with her either. So she didn't even know that Brooke went off and just had her own little family. So now, in addition, I should say, to the tribute, Dwayne Johnson, Sylvester Stallone, John Cena have all sent out their condolences and all that good stuff. Not surprised about Sylvester Stallone because he's also a supporter of Trump. So there's that. As far as like Dwayne Johnson goes and John Cena, they're all a part of the whole WWE situation. So they're all gonna send their tributes out of respect, because say what you want about the Hulkster, he is a legend and an icon in the wrestling world. So my condolences, I guess, to not him, because fuck him, but as far as like his kids or whatever, I get the mourning and all that other stuff. I ain't got no time for bigots. I don't give a good goddamn how much of a hero you were to people. But if you don't see it for people like me, I don't see it for your ass either. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story regarding the, Hulk's ex-wife and Brooke speaking out about the estrangement that they, regardless of the estrangement they had with the man who had his own demons he was dealing with, they got love for him and they're glad they can finally rest in peace. So whatever your thoughts are on this matter, let me know in the comments down below. Clearly. Says she needs a therapist. I saw WWE SmackDown and Raw trying to see all the black wrestlers trying to look at their expressions on it. He said, not a fan. This is a wealthy and famous family crying about a racist. They can cry harder and Well, you know, they was going to have to put out their statements because people are going to ask about it. So for the sake of easing the minds of the nosy people on social media, they had to come out and say something. All right, y'all. So now let's move on to our next topic, and let's get into some Chris Brown, who seemed to be, according to people, throwing out some subliminals regarding Chris Brown, throwing out subliminals about Karrueche Tran, who I had no idea was out here dating Deion Sanders. I'm like, when did that happen? I know some people like they've been dating. I'm like, think I'll be following all these damn celebrities like that? Like, unless the news start floating around, I don't be out here paying attention to every single person that's hunching this, that person, and the third person. But apparently Chris Brown said something, and I'm still, when I read his statement or his subliminal whatever, I'm still confused. So Karrueche Tran recently enjoyed a little sunshine with her girls in the Mediterranean Sea, but before she teased photos from her Ibiza trip, sis was already viral for a very different emotion. Now on Monday, which was yesterday, July 28th, Deion Sanders revealed he underwent bladder removal surgery as a cancer treatment option. Soon after, footage from the surgery surfaced and showed Tran distraught with tears while supporting Coach Prime at the hospital. Dating rumors started flying, and then Chris Brown stirred the pot with a cryptic message. Now all the fans want to know is, what's the tea, sis? So now Chris Brown shared a cryptic social media post after his ex Karrueche sparked romance rumors with Deion Sanders, who was a former NFL star. His son, I believe, is in the NFL now after, being drafted so many damn times. He finally got a team. Now, early morning Tuesday, the Look at Me Now singer 36 took to his IG story to share a cryptic post writing, "Little blank still pisses me off to this day. I'ma pray on it." I'm confused as what it is because they blurred it out. So I don't know. He could have called her a slut. He could have called her a shit. I don't know. Because it said S blank T. So I'm confused. Because when y'all start blurring stuff out, I don't be on Chris. I don't follow Chris Brown. So I don't know what the actual word was. But if y'all know what it was, drop it down in the comments. But I feel like any other time, Chris, you don't be out here doing subs. We say the subliminals for Nicki Minaj because she like throwing subs. But when it comes to you, you've always been upfront about what you talking about, who you talking about. So why you throwing subs now? Especially when I thought that you and Karrueche was on good terms. I know she filed a restraining order and all this other stuff and said you punch her in the stomach and all this other mess back in the day when y'all was dating. And it seemed like when I saw a picture of y'all a couple of weeks ago, hugged up and smiling, y'all were on good terms. So Brown's message came hours after Tran, who's 37, and Sanders, who's 57, shocked fans with their rumored romance. Now, in a video shared on YouTube Monday, the Claws alum was seen getting emotional as she talked to the University of Colorado Boulder football coach ahead of his bladder removal surgery, saying, quote, he is having his bladder removed and they will create a new bladder with one of his intestines. That sounds gross, but if science is able to do what they do, then who am I to judge? Now, through tears, the Bel Air actress said Sanders having his bladder removed in surgery was the best option because it fully removes the cancer to ensure it doesn't come back. After the two-time Super Bowl winner's successful surgery, a relieved Tran was seen on video smiling and chatting with hospital staff. Now, in another part of the video, the Only for One Night star held Sanders' hand as he was wheeled through the hospital by his nurses. Tran famously dated Brown on and off from 2011 to 2015, and here we are 10 years later, and allegedly he's still bitter about her moving on to another man. It's like, Chris, you got all that dick you got, you can put plenty of coochie is willing to be flung in your direction. I don't know why you getting mad, allegedly, if that sub was for her. Why you mad over who she's in a relationship with? If she's moved on, then sir, you need to move on too. And not be worrying about who she's hunching out in these streets. She want her an older man. And Deion like these racially ambiguous girls, like a lot of these athletes and rappers. So they said she called it quits with the pop star after finding out he had fathered a child with another woman. Now, since their split, Brown has been seemingly pestering his ex, even writing songs about her. So is she the one she can't get over? Is she the one that's like really gotten under your skin further than Rihanna did? Because that was the high profile romance, you and Riri. But it seemed like you moved on from her, even though some of these people won't let you forget what you did to her. But Karrueche seemed like be the one that you still pining over. Now, on his 2015 track called KAE, the dad of three sang, "You supposed to love with all that's official, talk all that ish. It don't mean F around and go missing. Oh, and don't try to make up because I'm fine. You're a stranger in my eyes." Now, 2 years later, Tran got a restraining order against a two-time Grammy winner after he allegedly threatened to take her out. She also accused Brown, as I explained earlier, of punching her in the stomach twice several years ago and claimed that he threatened to unalive her and several of her friends. Brown, who pleaded guilty to one count of felony assault for putting paws on Rihanna in 2009, was served with the paperwork at his 28th birthday party. Meanwhile, Tran has been linked to Migos rapper Quavo, thank God she ain't messed with that community dick Offset, and NFL star Victor Cruz, who I've seen a couple of times at the Garden. He is fine in person. So, Chris, move on from this. She's moved on. She got herself an athlete. Hopefully he's doing good by her and there's not gonna be no drama in the situation. But look, I guess if she's with Deion, she ain't looking to be out here really working like the rest of these girls do. She trying to settle with somebody who's a man of a certain age. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story? What do you think that sub meant? I don't even know what to make of it because I don't understand what the whole thing was meaning when he put it out there. But or is it just that the blogs or whatever just making a mountain out of a molehill, making just this is just a bunch of nothing. So whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below. Not Karrueche trans. Okay, you want to know something? In the words of RuPaul, bitch, consider that stolen. Because that would be funny. It was like, my name is Karrueche Trans. And if the girls get mad, it's like, look, whatever happened to politically incorrect drag? Where it's like, yeah, Karrueche Trans. That would be kind of funny. Funny, honey. All right, y'all. All right, so now we're down to our final four topics. Before we get to the final four, if you could please do me a solid, if you have not already, hit that like button. If you are new to the channel, hit that subscribe button, and also be sure to smash the notification bell so that way you know when we go live with a brand new episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered. As you already know, as I do every show, I'll be putting timestamps at the end of the live, so that way those who come in and watch the playback pretty much just go and look in the description, click on which topic tickles their fancy if they don't want to sit through all the banter and the long-windedness that we do with this mess of a show. And all of you that like, subscribe, and all that good stuff, I definitely appreciate all of you that come in every time I go and do a live, that y'all support this show consistently. Because without y'all, I'd just be looking like a damn psychopath up here talking to myself. So now, without further ado, please and thank you. Let's get into this Ray J tea. So I know over the years we've been talking about Ray J. Ray J been out here crashing out, doing all kinds of stuff to stay relevant. Brandy seemed to be the one that has a career that has always been on the straight and narrow. Without all the stuff with the faking of the marriage and having the baby out of wedlock, all the other stuff happening. The car accident. Brandy's had her ups and downs and stuff too, but not at the extent of Ray J messy behind, who I've always felt has been trying to figure out where does he fit in this world, because Brandy has the A-list mainstream career and Ray J is just ratchet doing Zeus Networks type foolishness and just getting himself in space of like the neighborhood talk and the shade room. He can't expand himself beyond that, the chitlin circuit. And that's no shade, that's just an observation of how his career is. So one of the things we've always talked about is like, is he considered an embarrassment when it comes to, the Norwoods and things of that nature? So in a recent interview that he did for Cam Newton's podcast, Cam Newton been getting a lot of good interviews as of late. Because remember the last time we talked about Cam Newton on this show, it was the K. Michelle interview that he did. And K. Michelle was like dropping some jewels, and it was a good interview in which she was talking about like she want to fight Tamar and all that other So with all that being said, he's opening up about his relationship with Brandy and said that he believes himself to be the black sheep of his family, and recently shared that his parents and sister, fellow R&B star Brandy, R&B star Brandy, are embarrassed by him. So he's answered our question. He revealed this, I think, on Evelyn Lozada's podcast. I'm like, damn, every goddamn body got a podcast. What the hell do Evelyn got a podcast? Excuse me. Was she teaching on how to be a housewife? But anyway, so here's what he said. Now, in a chaotic and nonsensical interview, and that's what a lot of his interviews turn out to be all over the place. It's hard to follow along what he's saying because he's on them damn drugs. Or in the words of Ike Turner, and what's love got to do with it? Them narcotics. You know, played by Morpheus. Lawrence Fishburne, to be exact. So now, in a chaotic and nonsensical interview on the Funky Friday with Cam Newton podcast, Ray J made a series of confusing and contradictory statements about his relationship with his famous sister. At the top of the episode, Ray J pushed back against being called a brother during his introduction. Well, you're not black. You are a brother. He said, that's a big intro, but I'm not a brother no more, man. He said around the 2-minute mark on the video link below. Well, I do have it in the article that I, took this from. Shout out to Complex, by the way. Now, when Newton asked for clarification, Ray J simply replied, just because I'm not, bro. After being pressed even further, he insisted, I love my sister, but I don't think I'm her brother no more. This led into a bizarre monologue with vague explanations and metaphors as Ray J described being in a new phase of life. He said, quote, you grow out of this first phase of life, and there's a second phase. I guess he's talking about being in his 40s because that's what he is. In the second phase, a lot of people in the first phase are no longer there. It's like a love changes, a thug changes, the best friends become strangers, and that's not me. Nas said that. He continued, it's so accurate in today's time, and as you grow, people grow, and you grow away. And when you grow away, sometimes you're gone, sometimes it's done, and you try to get it back and try to understand the first wave of things, but when you're treated exactly like it was in the first wave, when you understand what you have to do, you know what I'm saying? So that's just where I'm at. I care, but I don't give a fuck. I'm so confused. It's you know what I'm saying? It's look, I do agree that the older you get, you have a better perspective of things and you grow out of things, or I would say you outgrow people. Because I have to say, when it's come to relationships and friendships that I've had with certain people, I do outgrow certain people and certain relationships and certain friendships. And I don't feel no way sad about it. But when it comes down to you and Brandy, I'm assuming that you have to realize is that maybe Brandy is just tired of the BS. And that's where she could be with that. That she's like, I'm over the BS. I'm tired of you and the shenanigans and the stunts and all the other stuff. Because Ray J just be up on here. And sometimes when you be watching, I'm like, Ray J, you are so damn corny. You act like a straight up clown. And you just need to stop the foolishness. Damn, I saw this thing about Tyler Perry that I was thinking about bringing up too, where he was sitting there talking about the whole Sinners situation, which I know has drawn a lot of controversy. I may have to save that one for the next episode. But yeah, so and Brandy, I feel like she has a certain way of how she wants her image represented in the world, and she probably feels like that you kind of tampering with that in a way. It's kind of like when you look at Ariana Grande, she's the big major star, and then you have Frankie over there doing his thing. But when it comes to Frankie not doing no foolishness to embarrass his sister. He's on his own journey. He's carved out a lane for himself. He was a theater kid. Now he's out here being a pop star. He released a new album. He's jumping around in the whole gay scene and doing a lot of live shows. And the girls and the gay and the homosexuals is eating it up. But then you look at Ray J, who out here doing that's trying to create his own little Zeus network. He be out here doing a lot of things that's kind of embarrassing. Like, also in the interview, he was talking about Whitney Houston, where he was accused of having a hand in her drowning or whatever the case was, and supplying her with drugs, which he said is not true, because he said he was somewhere else. I think he said he was in LA, another part of California or somewhere. He wasn't even at the hotel or whatever at the time of what that happened. So people blaming him, I do think it's ridiculous that they were blaming him over what had happened, because I don't think what happened to her had anything to do with Ray J. And then he said at one point, like after she passed, that was when he started doing hard drugs. Now, he wasn't doing hard drugs at the time, and basically was saying, like, I think everybody pretty much knew that Whitney was doing drugs at the time, but the fact that y'all blaming him is just crazy. Just like a lot of people was going around blaming Bobby for her doing drugs. It wasn't Bobby Brown that introduced her to the drug. It was her damn brother. So for those who was out there sitting there talking about blaming everybody except for her for doing what she was doing, I do think it's ridiculous. Y'all want to blame Bobby because Bobby's the bad boy R&B. You want to blame Ray J because he tries to perpetuate that bad boy lifestyle, but it always looks like it's a desperate cry for attention. And I always felt like with Ray J, he always came across as someone that was just trying to figure out how he could navigate through this industry, because Brandy is beloved. Brandy is an icon in a lot of spaces. You know, we love her, and I Know What You Did Last Summer, the sequel. We love her as a musician. She is that mainstream girl. She was able to cross over in many different genres. She is the vocal Bible. And then you look at Ray J. Ray J's always Brandy's little brother. And I think he was, in so many ways, kind of irritated by that. So I have to put on this bad boy persona. I got to be out here and act like I'm a thug. And every time I get into a fight with somebody, as we've seen in them videos, he always try to run around reaching in his little bag like he had something in there he was going to whip out and use. And it's like, okay, stunt queen, stop it. And that's what Ray J be giving. Ray J always gives stunt queen when it comes to a lot of stuff that he does. So then they also went on to say Newton tried to ground the conversation by suggesting that Ray J might be deflecting his feelings about his sister. Ray J denied it, as he described feeling excluded from family events. He recalled being told by his cousin, who acts as Brandy's manager, that he and his daughter, who's 7-year-old Melody, Love Norwood, who he had with, what's her name? The girl from Love and Hip Hop. They said they couldn't attend a Disney premiere with Brandy, because it was supposed to be an 18 and over event. On the other hand, Ray J also credited the I Want to Be Down singer with giving him a hand when he needed it most. Well, maybe, like I said, they might be embarrassed by you because you do a lot of stupid stuff. He said, quote, I have to walk a certain line because I want everybody to know Brandy was the first person who ever put me on. Believed in me, took me out of town when I was getting in trouble. Her and my mom brought me out on tour, saved my life, moved me to the Valley, and I'm always grateful. And remember, because Brandy had him on, I think he was on Thea at one point. Brandy always put him on her stuff. She had him on Thea, that one season of that show before it got canceled. Then she had him on, like I say, brought him out on tour. We heard he could sing. Then I guess that's probably how he got his record deal. He had them 2 songs, One Wish and Wait a Minute with Little Kim. And then, well, that's only 2 I remember. And then remember he had, she brought him out on Moesha too at one point. I think she had him play her cousin, if I remember. So then from there, Ray J once again insisted that Brandy is his sister, but that he is not her brother. Whatever that means. So I guess he's saying he always got love for Brandy. Remember that you got love for Ray J. Remember that show? Remember he said he got love for his sister, but he feels like Brandy don't have love for him. Maybe she's like, because you be doing too many dumb things that I'm like embarrassed by you by now. But I do feel like maybe in the heart of hearts, Brandy genuinely loves her brother. She just needs you to stop with the foolishness and stop playing, because you're playing too damn much. That's probably how she feels right now. And I do feel like if there is some animosity or whatever with your family, maybe there needs to come a situation where you need to stop playing, stop being a clown, because this is some clown stuff that you're doing right now, and actually find the time to really be like, I'm going to call a family meeting. We need to all get together. I'm willing to mend whatever needs to mend, and I want to work things out. But you actually have to put in the work to make that happen. And hopefully they'll meet you halfway. Now, when Newton once again challenged the contradiction, Ray J admitted, I don't know why I said that. I can't believe I said it. I'm going to keep it real with you. I don't know why I said that, but I said it. So F it, and I mean it. You know why you said what you said. Stop playing. The conversation only became more bizarre with Ray J's erratic answers. At one point, when Newton asked what he was, if not a brother, Ray J replied, I'ma see you next Tuesday. It means what it means. I'ma see you next Tuesday. I don't know what I'm doing. I mean, right now, I didn't know this was I don't know how we got here. Ray J is just all over the damn place. That's why I said, like, when it comes to him in interviews, he just be rambling. He just be saying all kinds of crazy stuff. And, you know, while it's great that y'all give him a platform to talk about this stuff, it just comes across as cringe and embarrassing. So I feel like at this point, Ray, you need an intervention of some sort. So come get your son. Please come get your son and figure out what's going on with him. Brandy, I know you busy right now. You working, you trying to do what you got to do to work on. I think, isn't she doing Descendants, another one of those movies? I think she's doing another Disney movie. Hopefully we get this I Know What You Did Last Summer sequel, because you know, if you saw the recent movie, you know she's got a part in it. Spoiler alert, it's been out already for 2 weeks. So hopefully we get the I Know What You Did Last Summer reuniting sequel with you and Jennifer Love Hewitt. Hopefully that happens with a whole new director and writer. Because that writing in that last movie was a choice. You're about to go on tour with Monica, so I know you're focusing on that. And figure out what the hell's wrong with your brother, because Ray J, you being a hot mess right now. So stop with the foolishness. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story regarding Ray J saying that I'm gonna see you next Tuesday? As you can see in the headline, you know what the word is, and saying that he's been exiled, and he feels like the family is pretty much embarrassed by him because of all the stupid antics that he's been out here doing in public, on social media, and wherever else we've been seeing, and in interviews. So whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below. Okay, so let's see what the people are talking about. Let's give them something to talk about. You said, I saw an interview clip of Ray J talking about his relationship with Whitney and how Brandy worshiped Whitney. Yeah, and then Whitney out here hunching her someone who idolized her younger brother. Like, make that make sense. He said he was in that's what I said. I knew he was in some part of California. Said he was in San Diego the night Whitney passed. Cam Newton just got through interviewing Brittany Griner on her imprisonment in Russia. Oh, I definitely got to check that out. I like Brittany. It looks like Yennefer is understanding that she is better. Yes, and I've been saying that for the longest. I think I had a conversation with somebody on social media. First of all, I'm going to say this. Now, y'all know Jennifer's vocals have always been a choice. However, I watched some of that Up All Night tour because somebody was recording it and it was on the YouTube. So I was watching it as I was putting the show together. Jennifer is a good live performer. I'm not going to hate on her with that. The fan was fanning. The hair was blowing. She performs her ass off. The song choices definitely was a bop. I even like some of the new songs I heard. So she's smart to know, like, stick to the rivers and the lakes. One of my friends who was from, I think, the UK was saying that the international market likes her. So focus on that. And I feel like stop trying to think you Mariah with the vocals. You know what your limitations are. You're a great performer. Stick to dance music. Dance music is making a comeback, like particularly like the 90s house music and all that. So we talked about that yesterday. We talked about Madonna and her influence on dance music and ushering it into the mainstream. And it's like, yeah, focus on that. And people will be living for it. Some of the new songs I heard, Birthday and all of those are cute songs. So the international market will eat it up. If the Americans don't like it, you could do smaller venues. Do a limited like tour, one nighted, like in certain spots, like do New York, LA, Vegas, whatever. I know she's got the Vegas residency coming. And so Jennifer as a performer, yes, she's doing the thing. And then she even had a little Latin section in the show. The vocals on Ain't It Funny was a choice. But other than that, she definitely eats down when it comes to the performance. And so that's why I said stick to the rivers and the lakes. So she is doing better in Europe than in the US, and that's not a bad thing. There were so many people that Tina Turner was bigger overseas than she was in America. And Americans, I feel like y'all take artists, not me, because I love all types of music and I support all types of music, but a lot of Americans, y'all take your artists for granted. Y'all, you one day you like somebody, the next week you hate them. Whereas there's an undying loyalty and a fealty that European artists have. And I think also it stems from that a lot of European artists don't they don't get to see certain artists as often. So when y'all pop up over there in other countries, they appreciate it. I don't think Ray J was on BET. I don't think he was on The Game. He wasn't on The Game. He was on Moesha. He wasn't on The Game. Brandy was. DJ, yes, I'm glad y'all in the room. He said, I have so much, child, I want you to spill it. Especially EJ, because EJ, shout out to him, my former producer. He loves him some. We know you are a Brandy stan. So, I definitely, I was hoping that you was watching this clip too. The day, according to Brandy, he was being friends with. He's such a damn troll too. Was the day the family? From him kikiing with Kundis, who's being sued actually by Macron's wife for saying she's transgender. I can see why they do so, because he be doing some dumb stuff for attention. He basically said that they don't communicate anymore because of who he is. Like, why the F would she invite you to a Disney red carpet event? Exactly, especially if you're not in the movie. It's like, sorry, I'm in the film. I'm not going to have you and your child on a red carpet. Like, what I need to do, first of all, he been mooching off Brandy since she became famous. So why am I going to have your clout chaser behind? And there's no shade, but I'm just saying, y'all know I speak from the, ain't no hair on this tongue when I talk. So why would I have you come to an event? Because your child wants to go? She can come with me to the movie or whatever case. I mean, but if it's an 18 and over situation, why would I have you there? And you not in the movie, why would I put your drunk ass on the red carpet? Because we know he be hiding Cooter Brown and he drinks like hell. They say he uses her for her connects, networking, and she's absolutely. That's what I say. He's been a clout chaser since, Brandy became famous. Brandy was the famous one. Yes, he's talented, but you pissed all that away with your shenanigans. You was out here trying to be the bad boy army. You are not Bobby Brown, and you damn sure ain't Chris Brown. So, and you damn sure ain't Trey Songz. So stop it. Their mama said, I raised no Republican as a child. That led to the group is owning him. Well, Sonia is correct, but still, come get your son. Please take at Ray J's phone. Put him on the Zeus network and stop giving him a microphone. Well, look, he tried to create his own Zeus called Dosh. And remember, he tried to do a trans version of the Bad Girls Club. It was a mess. I don't even know if that channel's still around because I don't know anybody that subscribed to it. I had people tell me through the grapevine the mess that's on there. Tina embraced her popularity in Europe, which is part of why she ended up moving to Switzerland. Absolutely. And I live for it. Even though I know y'all was out here clowning that Tina Turner wig that was all over the social media. Y'all was saying that ain't the Tina Turner wig. That probably was the style of the Tina Turner wig. It's just the heat got to it when she had that wig on. And that sweat hitting it, because when the big wheels keep on turning and Proud Mary keep on burning, them curls come out. Hey, Annie. All right, y'all. Child, let's get into it. So now we're going from one problematic child to another one. Let's talk about Todrick. Now, it's been a minute since we talked about Todrick Hall on this show, but apparently he is overseas. Talk about somebody that understood where his talent resides. So he's over on the West End right now performing in Burlesque. And people jumped on social media with some shady comments, to which Todrick took time out of his day, or as he would say, his busy schedule, to showcase on his Instagram all the hate that he was receiving. So Todrick has issued a statement regarding his experience with Burlesque the musical, currently running in the West End. So now, Hall directs and choreographs the production, which earned solid write-ups when it opened at the Savoy last week. He also performs in the role of Sean while writing a selection of numbers that feature in the production. The show was surrounded in controversy during its rehearsal and preview period. Now, screenshotting a comment section from the Facebook channel Musicals Daily, Sorry. Hall said, imagine, wait, hold on, because actually I got let's go over to his Instagram, because we love a receipt over on this channel. And let's see what the people were saying. So yeah, he posted this. He said, where some people was like, how does every single thing associated with Todrick, and we'll read what he had to say in a second, come to a place that is problematic? Todrick Hall and flooded with issues, groundbreaking. Another person said, Jackie Burns isn't here anymore. I'm not interested. Todrick Hall equals big mess. Another person put, Todrick Hall is directing now. I definitely won't see it, even if he isn't in the show now. Give him no money, guys. I wonder, where's all this circulating from? Is it because of all this stuff, but I was talking about he don't pay his dancers and all this other stuff? Because I'm like, where is the controversy coming from? Because I don't understand, like, color me naive. Is this all due to all the stuff that he was accused of in the past, where people felt that he was problematic and he's done a lot of troll things and he don't pay his damn, all the stuff that has come out over the years and the harassment of stuff of people on his team and people that were his former assistants? Tommy Italiano, I'm gonna need you to get on this thing. I need to know what's the tea. Because I'm sure you probably know. But I'm like, is that what all this is stemming from? Because I don't feel like it was broken down enough for me to get like why all of a sudden, because y'all heard Todrick Hall is a part of Burlesque, that all of this stuff is coming out. Is there because there's something that was happening behind the scenes of Burlesque that I don't know about? So he went on and said this. He said, imagine waking up every day and reading these comments from strangers that have never met you, knowing your cast has seen and read them, then having to go on stage night after night, smile, and try to perform under these circumstances. I can't imagine that there's a single theater kid in the world who hasn't been bullied, yet we grow up just to bully other creators on social media. I am a human being whose life has already been harder than most enough. I'm aware that something I say may be taken out of context, so please change it to please charge it to my head and not my heart. None of these articles that have come out about our show have ever mentioned me, but the fingers are all pointing in my direction. All right, where I go? Because I was like scrolling down, I lost my space. Oh, hold on. Oh, they said, but the fingers are all pointing in my direction. I'm a strong human. I've had to be, but every human has their breaking point. Keyboard warriors, please be careful of the things you say about people on the internet. Reminder, we are not curing cancer here. We are making a show for entertainment in a world that is already so divided. We as the theater community should stand together and not find joy in ripping apart our own art form that is already struggling to keep shows open and art alive. Thank you to creators like Mickey Joe Theater, who gave their honest opinions while also uplifting the art form and protecting the creators who make it. I've seen your comment section, Mickey. Thank you for defending me. Not your job, but it speaks volumes of your character. Come see our fabulous show, Burlesque the Musical UK, if you can even get a ticket. 5 stars, sold out with a nightly standing ovation. That's what Burlesque is. So some people in the comments say, you are a Black male queer artist. These assets become burdens when those that fear us. Oh, that's from We Are You Radio. Shut up. Well, I know who that is. And it said, these assets become burdens when those that fear us use them against us. Seeing this negativity is sure to weigh heavily on anyone in your position. Beyonce just finished the world tour, and the naysayer says she did everything wrong. Many said she shouldn't represent country music, and yet represent she did. It may be hard, but stop looking at the comments and look at your journey. You deserve to be right the F where you are. People are going to paint a narrative that differs from your true character. Draw your power from the people that have worked and respected you as an artist. The other BS be damned. Much success to you, brother. You got this. Make the girls eat it. And I always say, even Doug Spearman from Noah's Ark was up in the comments, said, keep doing you. You're amazing. And then another person said, wait, who's Orphea? Do I know that person? I'm trying to see if I can pop open anything, but it's not opening up. So, Todrick, I could flood this comment section with enough words to make Britannica nervous, but let's cut to the truth. You're brilliant, full stop. Getting to share the stage with you every night is a damn joy. I know the second we lock into a scene, it's going to be alive, electric, hilarious and heartfelt, AF, and unforgettable. The noise online doesn't hold a candle to the real thing, you doing what only you can do. and you make it all look so effortless, which bugged the F out of people. Trust me, I know. Keep shining, my love. I see you. We all see you. Thank you for everything, Todrick. So look, a lot of people are pouring in and saying a lot of positive comments on his page. And you want to know something? Even whether or not you like Todrick or not, I'm being neutral in this conversation. Yeah, don't focus on the negative comments, but it's hard to do that when it's like you revert back to the negativity, because even when you have 50,000 positive comments in your situation, that one comment, that one negative comment sticks with you. Same thing like with I had Roro had to talk me off the ledge yesterday when I went and I was having a conversation about Malcolm Jamal Warner, and I had brought up a topic about there was some information that came out at the time and I reported on it, and people was jumping on my stop making up stories and stop lying and all this other stuff about his daughter was in the water with him when he drowned, and I'm like, this was the information that came out at the time, which forced someone to have to come in and clarify what had happened. So when the information is what it is at the time and people don't apparently look at timelines or when stuff is posted, y'all just watch things and just feel that y'all bold in y'all situation and just be keyboard warriors and say some stuff and think people won't clap the fuck back. Well, you don't know me, because I will cuss your ass out in a New York minute. But with all that aside, sometimes you got to realize, like, you can't let the negative comments bother you, but you have to realize, but yeah, at the end of the day, I'm a human being. Sometimes that stuff gets to you, but then it's like you release it, you say what you said, you move on. And then, but most of the time things don't bother me. But when certain things come up online and that are triggers, I'm gonna go in and cuss you out. So you get one every now and again. But for the most part, water off a duck's back. I do have a relative thick skin, and you have to be in this. If you're gonna be in this industry, you have to develop a thick skin. Who knows? Maybe Todrick has changed. He's not the same person that he was when he was younger. When they say when you know better, you do better. And some people, when they've been hurt by you, they're gonna hold on to those things or a perception of who they think you are, and they're going to run with that narrative. But it's like, as long as you know who you are at the end of the day, as long as you surround yourself with people who truly know who you are and know your character and know you as a human being, you're not going to don't let those things bother you. But Todrick is still young. He still has to get to a place in his life where he can make peace with, somebody always going to be out here hating. And we understand it is harder for people who are, especially if you're a queer person of color, and all the strides that Todrick has had to make as an independent artist and trying to figure out how he's going to navigate through the world and stuff. Yeah, it's going to be harder on him. And so just keep doing you. So I do wonder, like, where all of this, where all this stuff is stemmed from, where people are going in and just saying negative things. I just need to know what was the full story, because the stories that I was reading on this didn't really give a lot of information on where all this stemmed from. Y'all just went and said that people just started trolling him online when they were giving a review of Burlesque the musical. I don't know. I haven't read any reviews on Burlesque the musical, so I don't know if it's a good show or not. I do hope that it gets to a point where it comes from the West End and it actually comes to the United States, because I would definitely love to see it. And that was the same thing, like when especially, one other thing that resonated with me is that when he went and brought up the fact that, yeah, it's harder, especially if you're a person of color in the theater space. Because look, shout out to Conrad Ricamora, who y'all know from How to Get Away with Murder. He was also in a play called Here Lies Love, which I absolutely love, and that closed. He was also on the show in the movie Fire Island. He recently started a fund, like a foundation, because there was a play that I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but there was a play that Darren Criss was in that he just won the Tony for, and he's stepping. I think it's like the first play or whatever that's fronted, I guess, where it's an Asian play and it's got a predominantly Asian cast, first Filipino American to get the Tony, whatever the case was, I think, if I'm not mistaken. And he is stepping down. They're putting a white actor in his place, which sparked a lot of controversy. And Conrad is like, well, we need, he started this foundation as a way to get Asian Pacific Islander, or I was going to say, is it APAC? Because that'd be the worst thing to know what APAC is. But the Asian Pacific Islander community to, the foundation is being used to provide tools for Asian Americans or Asian artists to have the wherewithal so that way they can, you know, it's a scholarship to like help out with performing and all that other stuff. So he started that out of a necessity because, yeah, there is a lot of Asian erasure. And not even that, but just people of color. Especially when we went on Patty LuPone making that comment about Keisha and talking about, well, how many plays have you done? It's like, but wait a minute, sis, you're a white woman in the Broadway world. Of course, you're going to have way more opportunities than someone who's Black or a person of color. So let's not play that game, niece. So yeah, so I totally understand where Todrick is coming from, good, bad, or indifferent. I get where he's, you know, what he's saying. So if y'all notice, he definitely slipped down in the comments and let me know. But in the meantime, I definitely want to hear from y'all. What do you think of this story? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below. Well, you know, Todrick tends to do that a lot when he's up in here. Like they say, like he always does this whole victimization thing, but I can get it. It's like, you know, it's hard to take to get on Todrick's side knowing the past reputation. So he's got to work a little harder to try to prove that he's not the person that some people have perceived him to be in the past. And you got to show it in your actions. So I think Todrick is hard to work with and can be insufferable at times. We're also living in a time where anything risque isn't acceptable. I never, yeah, well, RuPaul would call him incredible. I'm like, when? Breaking news, Vince McMahon was involved in a car accident and wrecked up his Bentley. Ciao. Well, look, if he end up like Hulk Hogan, I don't feel no waste time. Let me see. Not Vince Vaughn, chair. They said Vince McMahon involved in a car accident. Former WWE honcho Vince McMahon is involved in a bad car accident. They said last week. So why is this coming out now? The incident happened around 9 a.m. in Connecticut on Thursday, hours before we broke the news of Hulk Hogan's passing. Maybe he found out about Hulk Hogan's passing and derailed that vehicle. According to a crash report we obtained, McMahon's 2024 Bentley was traveling northbound on Route 15 in West Point when it rammed into the back of a 2023 BMW 430 and collided with a median wooden beam guardrail. Debris from the collision flew into the left side of the two-lane highway, and a third vehicle, a Ford Fusion moving southbound, then ran into it. The force of the impact was so severe the airbags were deployed on McMahon's Bentley and the BMW. The report stated all three drivers were wearing their seatbelts. All right. Well, he survived. And this came out, this is like last week. And now TMZ got their hands on the tea. Y'all a little slow with the news. I remember listening to his Straight Outta Oz album. As soon as it dropped on YouTube, I didn't even realize there were drag race queens featured on it in the visual film, but he's washed now. Ooh. I wonder why he was never brought back as a... Yeah, I wonder too. It's like, it seemed like he just vanished from obscurity. So I do wonder why World of Wonder don't F with him. Have y'all blacklisted him like y'all did Willem? By the way, apparently All Stars 11 is finished. There was no 9-month break between filming. Avoid spoilers. The finalists are out. Oh, so basically they filmed everything and they're going to make us wait till next year? Because I guess they didn't like the idea that, okay, they brought the show back and then the queens basically came back looking different. I actually didn't mind that they, that it was like, okay, so they disappeared and all of a sudden Mistress is like, lost 100-something pounds and Ginger Minge. I didn't mind that the following week they all look different. But I guess, you know, they did that. I think they also, I wonder if it's that person that Roxy mentioned is the one out here leaking spoilers. Of course, you know, they stay revealing all that stuff on Reddit. Now, speaking of washed, let's get into Azealia Banks because we got 2 stories on this trash box hooker. So Azealia Banks has been forced to delete a post where she ranted about adult teen relationships in defense of Trump. So, you know, this whole Trump Jeffrey Epstein situation where they was talking about that he went to Epstein Island. He also said that he didn't have the pleasure of going to Epstein Island. I'm like, you know what? There's a lot of things that people say. You got to watch what they say because there's a lot of truth in what they say. And when you sit up in there and talk about you didn't have the pleasure of going to Epstein Island when Epstein Island had a bunch of damn pedophiles. Sidebar, it also makes me wonder that movie that, you know, was supposed to be called Pussy Island. that Zoe Kravitz directed, you know, the one with Channing Tatum kind of being like the Jeffrey Epstein type character, that she was in a relationship that well she was in a relationship with him in real life, but that whole movie, damn, I forget what it was called, Blink Twice. That movie, I'm kind of wondering if that was like a resemblance of Epstein Island in some sort of way, and there's some things that she knew about and she incorporated in that movie. Also, my girl Adria Arjona was in that movie. She was good in that, by the way. But yeah, so Azealia decided to speak out on it, and I told y'all, he may not have been on that island. I don't believe that he hasn't been, but he's been on that plane, that pedo plane, that Lolita, you know, plane, where he banged out Melania for the first time on it. So he knows Jeffrey Epstein intimately. They've shared girlfriends in the past. Yeah, that's it. A lot of stuff regarding this whole thing is out there. The Wall Street Journal posted a thing. There's been some old stories that came out in 2016 that exposes Trump with and his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. They've been friends since before I was born. They've been friends for about over 40 years. So Trump knows him intimately. I'm not saying they hunch, but I'm saying they know each other intimately, meaning they know each other's deepest, darkest secrets. And you can't tell me, allegedly, Trump didn't have that man unalived, because I do not believe he unalived himself. Now, in a series of controversial tweets, Banks claims such relationships were once socially acceptable, drawing sharp criticism across social media. So she argued that relationships between adult men and teenage girls were culturally normalized in earlier decades, writing the following. And I do have this long ass post, so we're gonna get into it. And Jesus Christ, this damn camera don't stop moving. Okay, so here's what she said. So now I gotta expand on it. She said, okay, and I'm gonna have to watch what I say because there's a lot of expletives. So she said, okay, in Donald Trump's defense, effing 14-year-old girls was really only made a social taboo in the 1990s. How the hell would you know this? You wasn't even born in 1990, right? Or was she born in 1990? Because she was born in the 90s. She said, my grandmother was born in 1927 and had her first child when she was 12. Teenage pregnancy only became frowned upon with the rise of Jerry Springer, and I also can be honest about the fact that I was old enough to choose, seduce, and decide to F grown A men when I was 15. I really don't get why women are fronting like they weren't effing 40-year-olds at 15. Like, come on now. I'm honestly not surprised or mad at Trump for getting some 15-year-old pudenda, trying to find the word, because those were the times. Good night, USA, for effing ever. Now, if he was effing a 10-year-old, we have a problem. So this is same bitch, so that's what you are, who was out here calling Nicki Minaj a PDF file for messing with Kenneth Petty. She's come out at other people accusing them of being PDF files, but you don't have a problem with Trump. All of a sudden, you flip-flopping. You even made a comment about Donald Trump allegedly being a pedophile in 2024, but 2025, all of a sudden she changed. The bipolar is bipolaring. Bitch, take your meds. Somebody shove them the Viking or whatever it is that she's taking down her goddamn throat, because apparently the bitch got short-term memory. I hope this is the end of her for most people, but I got another story that we're gonna get into where I feel like she has completely ended her career. Even those latched on homosexuals, I hope y'all gonna be officially done with her after she said what she said about the gays and the trans. We're about to get into that one. So the controversy escalated when she dismissed the Jeffrey Epstein scandal, tweeting, forget about the Epstein files, who cares? A lot of his constituents do. It's weird how they don't care that he's taking away their health care, taking away their food stamps. He's, rolling back all the things that a lot of his supporters depend on. The rise in homelessness. Now he's building concentration camps to get rid of homeless people. Yeah, that's the latest. But his constituents care that they were lied to after you said that you was going to release the Epstein files. They blaming Pam Bondi, but I'm like, why are you blaming her? She's, it starts at the top. She's only taking orders from him. And y'all got to realize he's got immunity. So when all this is said and done, Dan Bongino, Pam Bondi, Pete Hegseth, all of y'all going to jail. Y'all didn't learn the first time how them people went to jail because of the shenanigans. They were staying loyal to him, and now y'all doing the same damn thing. You don't think that's going to happen to you? And then you got all of a sudden Candace Owens turning over a new leaf, talking about the Epstein files. And then you got the Nazi, Nick Fuentes, coming out, all of a sudden changing his tune and going and flip-flopping on Trump. And that is bipolar bitch who seems to like jump on any bandwagon to get any sort of relevancy is now saying all this stuff. And yeah, here's the thing. My great-grandmother has 16 children, was married to my great-grandfather, who was born in the UK but raised in Spain. Yeah, there's a whole situation. Got with him when I think she was like 14, 13, but the times, they were different in the 20s. I don't think it was frowned upon around in the 90s. I don't know where the hell she getting her information from. But I feel like now in this day and age, people are talking about pedophilia and saying like getting with kids and all this other stuff is wrong and all this other stuff. Look, now it just came out today that ICE has been out here trafficking children. That's the latest story that just came out today. And I'm not surprised hearing that news when ICE was actually put to crack down on child trafficking and things of that nature. So you got this washed up see you next Tuesday. So now you're justifying child abuse like it's okay. There was even a story of a homeless girl who was who was underage that got a job in Mar-a-Lago, but she was actually trafficked to Jeffrey Epstein. And she talked about it in an interview a couple of years ago. So you're okaying abuse. And who knows if these young people out here who are getting with an older person, if it was consensual. Because I'm not going to hold you. I was running around when I was hot in the behind and my hormones was raging, seeking out older men and having sex with them. But did I know what I was doing at that time? I was like, no, I was out here being naive. But when you grown, you should know better. And when you know better, you do better. You should be out here seeking out getting with kids. And that's the thing that Trump likes. He likes, allegedly, people like that who are PDF files. They get off on getting with children because of that innocence, that prepubescentness. They look so, whatever it is that's in their mind of why they get with these kids. I mean, are you okay with Austin Wolf and what he was doing to children and the fact that you had parents out there willing to pimp out their goddamn kids for whatever reason? They need to be locked up under the jail too. So what the hell are you talking about? But I guess she feels like because she's on Elon Musk's Twitter, who she used to fuck back in the day, by the way, she thinks all of that mess is okay to be out here pushing for. So, bitch, go play in traffic. And don't let the door hit you on the way out. So, yeah, then she also said something on the girl. My dad was 47 and my mom was 14 when they got together. Cry somewhere else, loser. No, bitch, you're the loser. Oh, because Nico Aesthetics basically said something and she went in on him. Because he said, I really need y'all to let go of 212 because this is getting ridiculous. Oh, so that's what it was. She went in on Nico Aesthetics. Shout out to him. I didn't know. That's why I'm like, wait a minute. Why am I looking at the Twitter? Hold on, let me pull that up. Because I was like, and it said Nico Aesthetics followed you. Because, yeah, like I said, Nico and I are friends. So I was like, why am I seeing that? I think this is it. Oh, yeah, it is. And then it was like, Azealia Banks. Oh, look, if that bitch was to die tomorrow, I wouldn't feel no waste time. So I do feel like, yeah, y'all need to get that going 212. Like, I'm over her. I would not be surprised if Nico was about to make a video on this about what Azealia said. I would not be surprised. Shout out to you. Somebody said, Azealia versus Nico, you're famous now, my guy. I mean, he was always famous in a way. But then other people in the comments said people keep screaming pedo, but apparently they never bothered to look up the definition. Another person is mostly women past their prime freaking out about how badly being an independent woman backfired on them, still struggling to get even and older. Other person drives me crazy when people apply today's norms to yesteryear. My mom married my dad at 16. It was normal in the 80s for high school girls to try to date college guys after 15. Another person said my dad raped R-word and my mom, so everyone should be R-worded, fall backwards on a rock, weirdo. And they said Trump isn't your dad. The FC issue is who hung out with him after 2008. Another person, now your life makes sense. Yeah, now we know why this bitch is fucked up in the goddamn brain. Another person said, white people seem to have a hard time following the law. Another person said, you couldn't waterboard this information out of me in Guantanamo. Oh, yeah, and then I forgot this. There was what Onion said, Donald Trump announces plans to legalize pedophilia. Well, we did talk about how he was going to make it hard for people to have priests held accountable for any abuse they do against children. That was a story that came out. So I don't think that's an Onion situation or fake news. And birds of a feather, right? But anyway, so speaking of that, because I feel like I'm gonna just combine these two. And in other Azealia Banks damn news, this witch decided to go in on the homosexuals again. So yeah, because one minute she loving the trans community, and then she loved the gays, and then now she hates them. But I hope at this point, you know what? With her saying all this mess, if I see any one of you idiots have her at a goddamn pride event, there's gonna be some hell to pay. So this yuck mouth looking bitch with her crooked ass wig, which is a crime within itself, is facing a swarm of backlash with the homosexual community after saying being gay and trans is not natural. Now, this particular post was shared by Banks in response to a Twitter user who accused the rapper of assault victim coping mechanism rationalizing a person's abuse. Banks reposted the same. It's probably due to the whole thing about Donald Trump. She reposted a statement writing, well, being gay and trans is not actually a natural thing at all. It's a trauma response. Well, last time I checked, I wasn't traumatized by anything. That don't mean that is not why I'm attracted to someone of the same gender. So for her to say all of this, bitch, at least know what you're talking about if you're going to run up out here making comments about things your ass don't understand. Stick to rapping. Oh, I'm sorry. You ain't did that since your EP came out 20 years ago. Now, she says, science lied to you all and told you you were normal, but being homosexual and on the more extreme end, trans in any regard is in fact a trauma response. She said, no one is born gay and no one is born in the wrong body. You guys have mental disorders that science is doing you guys a major disservice by not medicating. Well, bitch, when you get on your medication, because clearly it's something, your brain is rotting in real time. She said, bet you didn't know that, but I guess bet you didn't know your ass is a cunt too. She said, well, look, now to be clear, being trans is natural and backed by science. So you're going to call science a lie? And this is why this country is failing, because y'all removing science, removing all kinds of things from school. And you would think this bro would have some kind of education. They said it's also natural to be a homosexual, and we all know that. Even though there was in the 70s, it was considered a mental disorder. One response to Banks' post read, you outdo your own dumbassery every time you tweet. It's really impressive. And another person replied, it's like you are purposely trying as hard as possible to be the most unlikable person in music. Well, look, the bitch done succeeded. Someone else wrote, it's like you are purposely trying. Oh, I think I posted that already. I wrote that twice, actually. My fault. A trauma therapist also responded to the tweet simply writing, no, it isn't. So her sitting out here talking about it's a trauma response. An actual trauma therapist jumped in the comments and basically said, it's not a trauma response. What the hell are you talking about? A different user demanded Banks to stop performing at Pride events, which she did as recently as 2022 in Miami. Not only was that performance reportedly not finished, but Banks also tossed her mic after the crew cut it off, probably because the bitch ain't been able to rock a stage since her first thing. Like she's a horrible performer. Great songs, talented, and it's just sad that she's just washed all this away because this bitch is crazy, clearly. So she proceeded after that point, proceeded to soar the stage and while getting booed. Now, over the years, Banks, as y'all know, dated Elon Musk and was known for making offensive remarks, especially when it comes to criticizing celebrities. She's also referred to as a broken clock for being wrong almost all of the time and occasionally making a good point. Like Candace Owens. But at least Candace Owens is intelligent. She plays up all that other stuff probably for attention and clout. This bitch is just stupid. Now, Banks was also suspended from the platform in 2020. Hopefully she'll be suspended again. But now that Elon likes all this cesspool foolishness on Twitter, it probably won't affect her in any way. Banks was also suspended from the platform in 2020 after going on a rant where she called for the cancellation of luxury trans healthcare. But even after the suspension, the rapper continues to find new ways to rejoin the platform by making new accounts. Because she's thirsty for some kind of clout, attention, all of that. This bitch is washed. So I hope at this point we are officially done with Azealia Banks, that the gays stop messing with her. I know, like, look, yeah, she has bops. Yeah, she has good songs. But at some point, you just got to cut ties with this trash. Throw it out, shred it, like y'all did Michael Myers at the end of Halloween Ends. Put her in that damn meat grinder and, sashay her ashy ass away. So I'm officially done with this broad. Her ugly ass can go play in traffic for all I care. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story? Whatever your thoughts are on this old tired trash box hooker, let me know in the comments down below. Blink twice. Kayla says, did a video on how the internet. I know, I posted it in the group chat. Scroll on up, you'll see it. I watched it earlier. Yep, WWE distanced themselves from Vince because he was an SA. Yeah, he was SAing women. He was suspended from the company and forced way back to sell the company. And I'm sure that he's making some kind of money still. Azealia got called up. Well, she still is on the inside and outside. She got called ugly as a child for being dark-skinned by her own father, and she hates herself because of it. She projects her insecurities on others and spews hatred because she has no love in her life. And you know what? That's all on her. She could find ways to better her situation instead of being a troll on social media. But when you pretty much are pissing off every demographic, the homosexuals are the most loyal. But after this, she's washed, she's cooked, she's done. If you want her to get canceled and for this to be the last straw, the media outlets also have to stop reporting her. Yeah. That's why I'm like, you know what, at this point, y'all see I haven't talked about Kanye in a while. I'm done with him. And I feel like at this point, I'm not reporting on anything else regarding her unless unless it's her demise. That's the only time you're going to hear me talking about that old whore. So I'm sure if you other pundits want to talk about her, if you other people want to talk about her, that's great. But then again, I always have a back and forth situation with it because I'm like, I want to inform people on what's going on so people be aware. But I feel like once this is out there, that should be the final straw, right? So hopefully that is what it will be. What it will be, will be. All right, y'all. So now, looks like we're officially at the end of the show. I want to thank you all for tuning in to the latest episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered. If you have not already, please hit that like button. If you are new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. And also be sure to smash the notification bell so that way you know when we go live with a brand new episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered. I will not be on tomorrow because I'm going to be working an event at the Garden, but I'll be back on Thursday with a brand new episode of the show. So definitely look out for that. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you for the constant support and all that good stuff. I definitely appreciate y'all, and I don't take your love and your support for granted. So yeah, love you all for watching. Thank you for the support, and until next time, ciao, darlings.